Welcome, everyone, to the Islanders Never Say Die podcast. I'm your host, TJ, and with me again, as always, is our NHL analyst and expert, the grumpy old man. They say there's no shame in his game because he is always the same.
That's me.
Grump, what's up with all the dancing, man?
I'm a dancing man. What can I tell you?
What's making you dance? Are you happy about something the Islanders did? What are you dancing about, man?
I saw a little bit of Saturday Night Fever today, and I'm John Travoltaing up here on the Islanders Never Say Die podcast.
There it is. There it is. Before we get the podcast started, remember this is a twice a week Islanders podcast that occurs every single Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and every single Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That being said, if there's a game on either Wednesday or Saturday, we go live right after the game. You guys might be shocked. We're actually on time today, ladies and gentlemen.
Right.
People might be, 10, 15 minutes down the road, people might be looking at this and like, what the hell? The podcast started on time?
Yeah. I mean, hey, what can I tell you, right? Isn't that good news? I think everyone, if you tell somebody you're going to do something at a certain time, you should do it. I just feel that way.
Oh, there we go, Grumpy. We're here.
And even a guy who's a Mickey Mouse guy, such as yourself, you should definitely be on time. Oh, look at that. Nice shirt.
Oh, thank you, Grump. Thank you. Yeah, now big news out of Islanders camp today. Ladies and gentlemen, I know recently, hey, we came off a loss against the Minnesota Wild, which we'll talk about, but I think it washes away any bad feelings you could have about that loss on Sunday, I believe it was. I mean, man, oh man, you go ahead and get Leo Komarov to be placed on unconditional waivers. They mutually agree to part ways, and the $3 million cap hit that is Leo Komarov is erased off of the New York Islanders books. I mean, it's fantastic.
How the mighty have fallen. That's all I have to say. He was a bona fide number one first-line winger for a team that made it to the semifinals of the Stanley Cup playoffs last year. And within 6 months, he's out of a job. I can't believe it. A man that talented, that incredible. He drove the Islanders. He made the Islanders so much better. He made that first line hum like a machine. He's gone, waived, finished in 6 months. How did it happen? Very confusing to me.
I'm very confused.
And it must be confusing to the cartel. The bootlicking weasels. Every single one of them. Leo Komarov, look at the numbers. Look at the peripherals. Look at this. Look at this silly little Corsi number. Look at this ridiculous little PPSL number. Look at this. Look at that. All I know is what I saw on the ice. He sucked out loud, and he's gone.
Well,
Okay. Thank you very much.
well, okay. Do you remember again? I'll make one quick stab at it. Do you just remember when Art Staple came out there and was talking about how Leo Komarov brought stability and a solid line play, and he was such an integral part. He brought some net front presence to that first line without Anders Lee, and we all just kind of laughed. Hey, what's up, Scott? By the way, but I tell you, Grumpy, I
And
mean,
but the funny thing,
here's the overarching point. It's fantastic that both sides were able to mutually agree upon ending the contract, because not only does this benefit, I mean, it's huge. Thank you, Leo Komarov. I feel like we owe a thanks for that portion. Thank you, Leo Komarov, for deciding to mutually end your contract, because that saves us now $3 million additional cap space immediately. On top of that, at the trade deadline, we're going to have about like 16, 15, $16 million worth of cap space to deal with if, we want to make a few trade deadline moves.
yeah, I mean, I think, well, I guess we'll delve into that more as the podcast progresses. But for me, it's funny. Staple mentioned that, and all the lemmings, the plebeians, all just towed the company line. Oh, okay, that's right. He's great. Instead of using their eyes, they'd rather just toe the company line. Except for here, this was the only place where you got to hear the unvarnished truth, right? Maybe we're not liked for that. I don't care. We're going to continue to bring the truth. As opposed to going forth at the trade deadline, root cause and effect, right? What do you think Lou has realized through the first 11 games of this season? What do you think he's come to realize?
I think he realizes we're going to need to make, and we talked about it, what were the keys this year that we were going to need to address? A left-handed defenseman position, as well as a top 6 elite winger that could snipe the puck. And what we've seen here now with Leo Komarov leaving is we've seen that space been cleared up. Now, this being said, I want to go on record and say this. I was very dubious of Lou Lamoriello to start. I thought he was a man of not enough action, I thought, for the time period and the time frame that our team had and the short window that we had. Now, here's the thing. He's setting up the stage for possibly very large moves at the trade deadline. He can add a left-handed defenseman. He can have a bona fide, top 4 left-handed defenseman at the trade deadline. And he can also add a bona fide top 6 sniper at the trade deadline as well. He's going to have the cap space to do so. He has draft capital. He's got prospects. If they really want to go all in, the Islanders can mortgage everything and say, we're in it to win it all this year. And Lou Lamoriello has set the spot up. Again, I was very dubious of him. But that being said, I think he's setting the stage for us. And by the way, thank you, Ariel C. Love the podcast. Favorite Islanders podcast. Keep up the good work. Thank you, Ariel.
Thank you, Ariel. Okay. What do I take out of it? Yeah, I think you're right on a lot of those things. But here's the grumpy old man's take on it. Lou Lamoriello listened to the podcast over the summer. He thought he was smarter than the grumpy old man. Grumpy old man said this team was not good enough to win a Stanley Cup with the same cast of characters coming back. He thought they were. He watched the first 11 games of the year, and he's like, you know what? That damn grumpy old man, he was right. I'm going to have to make moves now, even though, if he was a little bit proactive in the postseason, or I'm sorry, in the off season, we could have had these issues taken care of. But to his credit, it looks like he has finally seen the light from the grumpy old man and TJ and the Islanders Never Say Die podcast. Yes, we are going to have to improve the team if we have any shot of winning a Stanley Cup. At least he is able to admit his mistakes.
And I think I just let you go on and carry on the way you usually do, Grump. I had no point of even bothering. I just let you carry on in your fashion. That being said, I think at the trade deadline, what we're going to see is we've talked about it. We talked about last podcast. They are going to keep Chara and Andy Green up there as, the the second and third pairing left-handed defenseman, probably until about game 30, game 25, game 30. At that time period, I think you're going to see Robin Salo get a chance to make some sort of, emergence from the Bridgeport Islanders to the New York Islanders. We're going to see what he has. I think a lot of no matter how well Robin Salo plays, we're still going to address also the need to bring in a solid left-handed defenseman. I think Mark Giordano is pencil this in now, ladies and gentlemen. What fits our rep? What fits our MO? Mark Giordano, a Grizzly veteran who's a left-handed defenseman, who's got 1 year left on his contract, who's got plenty of playoff experience. If I look at us every single trade deadline, we're not trading for any younger players. We're not trading for players that have any term left on our deal. We're trading for guys that, to be honest with you, make an immediate impact. And, and I could honestly see us signing him back to a 1 year extension if everything works well. Again, I just think Mark Giordano is the guy we're going to go after at left-handed defense spot. Again, a lot of time still left. And I also think we're going to address our right wing need as well.
First of all, it's grizzled veteran, not grizzly veteran.
A grizzly veteran.
It's a grizzled veteran. I'm not disagreeing with you. I haven't watched any Kraken games this year, so I can't tell if Mark Giordano is still able to do the job. But assuming he is, I think he would be a target. And at $8.5 million, which is what his contract is for this year, not many contenders can take that on, honestly. I think you will, and I agree with TJ. I think that they're going to want to hopefully bring Robin Salo in. But I think that they're definitely in the market for a bigger ticket item, and they're all in to win. So as Islander fans, honestly, we should be really, really excited. Now, if he goes out and trades, the next 3 years, first round draft picks and 6 years of second round draft picks and, the rights to Matt Barzell's children, for Mark Giordano, well, that would be a mistake. But I'm going to believe that Lou, until he proves me wrong once again, I will believe that he's going to do the right thing when it comes to this. I think it's Stanley Cup or bust this year, without a doubt. Now, if we could just get some of the other flotsam off of the roster, we'd be in really good shape.
So it's going to be interesting to see what we do. I think, though, Giordano, if I'm putting, our favorite, who we're looking at left-handed defense, that's the guy. Who we're looking at right wing, I really think it could vary. Right, I've seen people throw up maybe Philip Forsberg, and maybe we attempt to re-sign him in the offseason. I think there's a lot of different spots. It will be interesting to see how things pan out. I think, though, I would be shocked if we were not going to make some sort of massive overhaul at the trade deadline. Because, John Smith, you're saying, now the question is, what does Lou do with the $13 million or so that we have a cap space at the trade deadline? Mind you, if he doesn't use the Leo Komarov cap space now he's been afforded, and he waits till the trade deadline, I think this would be closer to about 15.5, maybe 16 million. So he's gonna have quite a bit there to play around with. And I'm telling you, yeah, big league cup chasing trade coming this year. Book it. I would be shocked, Warzone Citizen, if we don't see some sort of big league trade. We talked about this offseason, right? I said, put your money on Vegas. I think we're going to pick up Tarasenko.
Why would you put your money on Vegas? Why wouldn't you put it on the Islanders?
No, I said take your money and put it in Vegas.
You said put your money on Vegas is what you said. Put your money on Vegas. That's what you said.
Okay. I meant to say put your money in Vegas, put it on the Islanders, bring in Tarasenko. Well, I could put your money in Vegas. We will be making 2 large trade deadline moves. I can promise you that much. I think the Islanders are all in, and this move has said it. This was a fantastic move by Lou Lamoriello. I don't know what he did to get Leo Komarov to mutually agree to void out or leave the contract, but whatever he did, hats off to the guy. I mean, here we go. We've been critical, but the things that we've seen lately, players signing back on hometown discounts. We've been seeing now them getting rid of Leo Komarov. Leo Komarov's contract without having to give away any capital at all, not having to force anybody to take him. I honestly have no idea what Lou Lamoriello did to get Leo Komarov to mutually terminate the contract, but hey.
Well, he had to realize that he wasn't part of the plan anymore, right? And, so he just said, go back to Mother Russia. That's what he wanted to do because we all know he's from Russia. But maybe maybe the ownership is starting a record company as well. And they've signed Leo Komarov to a long-term deal. And maybe the first song he's going to sing is Lollipop, Lollipop, ooh, lolly, 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 lollipop. Ba-dum-bum-bum. Maybe that's going to be his first song. It's going to be an international hit over Russia.
If I see Leo Lollipop doing that, I'd be all down for it. Scott L saying so many of Grumpy's favorite players are gone. Andrew Ladd, Leo Komarov, Leo Lollipop Komarov, and hey, Josh Invisibailey is still here, though.
You know what? I know I've been looking for the perfect nickname, the king of the secondary assist. Doesn't really stick. How about Tony Montana? Just for being a line killer. That's what Josh Bailey is. He's killed more lines than Tony Montana in Scarface.
It's funny. I've seen, by the way, on Twitter, a quick aside, people were talking about, oh, well, Josh Bailey, the second line when Josh Bailey was on it, they kind of struggled, but with Kyle Palmieri, everything's gone well. I noticed that in that tweet, and everybody's trumpeting this around. I'm like, hey, what a great move by Barry Trotz, a fantastic move. And what they don't include is the comparison of how the first line performed before Josh Bailey joined and how the first line has performed now since Josh Bailey has joined that line. Again, because it's not favorable. There always seems to be one common denominator. Frank K here saying that loss in Minnesota showed that the older guys should not play back-to-backs. They looked like slugs. Minnesota played the night before as well and traveled. They look youthful, fresh. Age still matters.
Age matters, yeah. It was a bad game. I mean, we were bad. It's funny. I was thinking we came out of the first period with a 1-0 lead, and I thought we were dominated for the most part, right? I mean, I thought Varlamov played well. He's not the reason why we lost. He gave up a typical Varlamov soft goal, which in effect losses the game. But I thought he made a number of big saves. But I think we've had a lot of puck luck the first couple of weeks of the season. In games where we didn't play well, we just seemed to get a break. We score the first goal every game. What happens if you're not scoring the first goal every game? And also it was mighty apparent that, man, Matt Barzal is the man for this team. He just is.
I'm telling you, that guy's fantastic. We've said it before, and I'll say it again. If Matt Barzal was on any other team in the NHL, if he was on one of those high octane, heavy forechecking style teams, he'd be putting up 110, 120 points, just like your McDavids, just like your McDavids, just like your Dreisaitl's. He would be putting up he'd be putting up points hand over fist. Matthew S. there saying, Grumpy old man, Dance Revolution. He was liking the moves you're busting out there, Grump.
Right. Denny Terrio's Dance Fever, ready to go.
Hey, people are thinking you're dancing because Leo went back to Mother Russia, Grump.
That's right. I am very transparent.
Good evening, Alexander. Hope all is well. And Scott L. there saying, standing ovation, TJ, for starting on time.
TJ is trying to do better. That's all you can ask for. He's trying to do better. You know what? You learn once you're notified of these things. Oh, at least when other people notify him, because he doesn't listen to me. But other people say, hey, TJ, jackass, let's see if we can start this on time. And look how much better he done.
Oh, look at that, Grumpy.
Good job, TJ. Kudos to TJ.
It's an underhanded compliment, right, Grumpy?
Kudos to TJ. He likes a little pat on the back. You started on time. Good for you.
Oh, you ridiculous. Brian J. said Andy Green and Chara need to go ASAP. Grump, I'll let you touch that first.
Yeah, I think Andy Green has been okay. Zdeno Chara, TJ, I sent you a little clip. Were you able to find something? That was where Matt Zuccarello in the first period, made Chara do a pirouette just by faking going to the outside and slamming the brakes on. And you remember when I said the last podcast, I said maybe Chara's afraid to commit too soon, and why he gets walked around to the outside is because he knows if a guy makes a move back to the inside, he's toast. That's exactly what I once again, I hate being right all the time. But that's what happened. He committed a little bit too early to Zuccarello. Looked like he was going to the outside, and then Zuccarello just slammed the brakes on. He didn't do anything fantastic. And old Chara looked like, like one of those little music boxes. You pop it up, and there's a little ballerina that goes around in circles doing pirouettes. That's what Chara looked like.
All righty, let's see if I can pull this up here. I'm going to try something new, Grumpy. Oh, here we go. Looky here, Grumpy. Is this what you're talking about? This one?
This is it.
Now, you're going to give us your commentary in this one, don't you?
Yeah.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Yeah,
no, you already have your commentary. I'll mute it so we don't have anything that was going on. But, yeah, Grumpy. Now, this is one. I love how you didn't hold the camera still.
It's my freaking cell phone. Here it is. There's Zuccarello. There's Chara. What should I do? Woo! I mean, he didn't even put a move on. He just slammed it. Look at this. Oh my gosh.
That's right. Well, we talked about it, right? Why is a guy, and here's the situation, right? He does have to open the gate. He's got to turn the hips. What happens? Leaves yourself
Wow.
overextended. Guy puts the brakes on, and Big Z he's flying. If Zuccarello picked the spot, I mean, that's in the net. But I wanted to talk about what you had mentioned, grumpy old man, about Semyon Varlamov. Now, I don't have any issues. I thought he actually played really well. Um, I thought he played well. Here's the thing. I don't put the loss on him by any means. I thought he played well. He made a few huge saves, but you see the differences on what the two goalies are. Semyon Varlamov and Ilya Sorokin played two way different styles. And when I watch it, it's funny. It's just like, hey, it's like a stark difference. Oh, wow. Sorokin looks a lot smaller. Varlamov looks bigger in net. He looks kind of slower back there, but more methodical with his movement. And he's more positionally sound is kind of also what I think about that as well. But, Sorokin, there are certain things where, I mean, he lets in weakies too, but, Sorokin's the hot goalie. He's the one we should be riding from here on.
Okay. And Varlamov does look bigger in net than Sorokin. He does look tiny in net. But he's a way better stick handler. The first goal, that was all because of a bad pass by Varlamov. It winds up getting picked off. It goes behind the net, and he is late reacting. And I don't even want to say he's late reacting. I think maybe it's the fact that we're used to seeing Sorokin being so quick to react that maybe you look at Varlamov and you go, man, he was really slow on that reaction. He wasn't ready for the shot coming back the other way, and he gets beat 5-hole, right? It just seemed like he was half a step slow. When Sorokin's out there, he's right on top of that. Also, something I noticed from Varlamov, particularly after the second goal, he started slinking back into the net a little bit. And as I've said before, anytime you see a goalie going further and further back into the net, it means they're not feeling comfortable out there. The third goal was a Varley special, right? Sharman soft, Varley special, right through. I mean, I don't know how he missed it from 35 foot out, honestly, right through his arm. That said, he made quite a few big saves to keep us in the game. That's not the reason we lost. It was the fact that we were dominated by Minnesota. And, I mentioned before, like Winnipeg, right? We were concerned about Winnipeg. They had a pretty good record, but it seems like all they did was beat up on the really weak teams in the West. And they pretty much outplayed. No, I was at the game. I think we played extremely well. We played Islander hockey for the most part.
Yes.
And I was interested to see how we were going to go against Minnesota. And Minnesota really carried the play against us. They really did. Disappointing to see that on the second night of a back-to-back.
Well, usually we play really well on the back end of the back-to-back. We just always have historically under Barry Trotz. I'm not worried about it. I mean, this is a team to where I don't expect our defensive situation to be anywhere near relatively the same of what we're seeing out there now. Ideally, once Salo gets, put into the lineup in some capacity, or once we bring on, a bona fide top four left-handed defenseman at the trade deadline, you're going to have Pelech and Pulak playing together on regular shifts again. And then it's a lot easier to hide or try to shelter Chara when he plays every other night, or an Andy Green when he plays every other night, or when they're running on a rotation. And again, at that point, I think best players should play. But I promise you, what's going to happen at the playoffs is unless we bring in two left-handed defensemen at the trade deadline, we're going to bring in one, probably Mark Giordano, to be a top four guy for us left-handed defense. And we're going to be playing Big Z or Andy Green at left-handed defense. Doesn't matter how well Robin Salo plays in his tryout with the Islanders and with his time with the Islanders, we will be seeing the older veterans that have that playoff experience. Frank Hay asking, is Lou working on signing Kovalchuk or Doug Gilmour? That's why Komarov is gone, ?
He's thinking about signing Mark Howe
for
left-handed defense.
Michael T saying, good evening, guys. Grump, is that a jersey, or is that an Islanders jersey, or is it a shirt?
It's a shirt.
Gotcha. Matthew S saying Lou is a genius. I tell you, it's a good move by Lou. Here's the thing. I don't know what he did to get Leo Komarov to agree to that. I have no earthly idea, none at all. Maybe he was like, maybe he had to have some sort of leverage over him, right?
Okay. You want the funny answer or the real answer?
I want the real answer. Seriously.
Okay. I think that Komarov was not happy sitting on the bench, and he's been told that he's not going to be part of a regular rotation, that a number of guys are going to have to get hurt before he has a shot. And I think he didn't want to ride the bus down at Bridgeport, And that's why I feel that he said, you know what, let's see if we can do a buyout. I can play first line minutes like I'm used to. Certainly last year in the playoffs, I was used to first line minutes. I can still do that in the KHL. So you know what? Certainly he's got more money than he could have figured out what to do on that ill-advised contract that Lou signed him to. So not a problem. If he has to buy out whatever it is, good for him. And if he's happy going back to Russia, good for him. All kidding aside, Leo Komarov in his prime was a really good third-line player. Just his time has passed. That's all. No harm in that.
Yeah, and he was unfortunately asked to do more than what he was able to do. Right, it's the same reason why again. We came at Komarov a little bit, but you're not going to see us come at Big Z or Andy Green because they come at the person who consistently puts them out there in those positions to fail. D-Cut saying, "Sup boys, what's up, D-Cut? Where's D-Cut from, Grumpy?"
He's from Isles rated R. Isles Misery rated R.
Man, oh man, maybe one day.
I can't believe I messed that up.
Aaron G said, "Can't wait to see him in D. Can't wait to see him in D." I'm not sure exactly who that's for. That being said, Brian P said, "I'm in mourning over the loss of Leo Komarov." I feel like there's a lot of fans that are going to be sad about the loss of Leo.
I am, because now I can't rip on him anymore. So now I have to find new players to pick on. Number 12.
Now, I will say this.
Hello to my little friend.
No,
not a puck. It's not a stick. It's the boards.
Well, I think now with this, Grumpy, trying to changing topics, Leo Komarov going, obviously I'm happy to determine to, mutually part ways, unconditional waivers, but I don't, you're seeing a lot of, I know you don't have any social media, but a lot of love for Leo Komarov. I like Leo for what he did, for maybe a year or so as a bottom six guy. That being said, people are making posts like as if we were to lose Matt Barzal, or post if we were to lose Brock Nelson or Anders Lee. These are the type of posts I'm seeing out there. People are throwing out there, "Thank you so much for joining our team and helping us right the ship and bringing us back to where we're championship contenders." And I'm like, they're attributing this success that Leo just happened to jump on board with, that is all due to Barry Trotz in the system, to Leo Komarov also being added. Don't get me wrong, Leo helped play a role as a bottom six guy, but let's not forget, right? We brought him in on a 4-year contract, paying him $3 million per, which is more than anybody was going to will to pay him. So, obviously, I'm not sad to see him go. People are sad to see him go too. I'm happy he left, and I'm happy they left the way he did. This is beneficial for the team.
Yeah, he never moved the needle for me at all. I was ripping that contract the day it was signed because he was finished in Toronto. He didn't have a bunch of suitors, and Lou felt he needed to sign to a 4-year deal, $3 million per. That's not coming here on the cheap. I'm sorry. It's just not. So, kudos to him. He had a good career. He was good in Toronto. He was.
Yeah.
When he got here, he didn't have much left in the tank. The biggest crime that he had wasn't really his fault, honestly. It was Barry Trotz's fault for putting on the first line. It made him an easy target, for me in particular. Very easy.
John P. said, "Good evening, gentlemen. Grumpy Old Man, it's on the way. FedEx scheduled delivery Friday, November the 12th. By the Eastern New Mexico, right, Grumpy? Eastern New Mexico State or Eastern New Mexico? Remind me.
New Mexico.
Gotcha. Absolutely. Aaron G said, "Hope to see him thinking about Leo Komarov in Detroit, and he becomes a part of Yasmin's plan." Well, he already signed a contract with the team in the K, so he won't be joining the Detroit Red Wings. And you could say, thank goodness he won't, because man, oh man, Leo's not a. I'm not sure he's got much left in the tank. I'm sorry. Brian,
Heisman's way too smart of a GM to make that mistake.
Brian J said, "Team needs the defense bad. Can't stop with the old anchors." I think here's the good, the bad, and the ugly, right? The good is we will address the defense. The bad is it's not anytime soon. And the ugly is you're going to get to see, Zdeno Chara and Andy Green, both on the ice every single night, probably for the next 20 or 30 games.
Honestly, if we can tread water and stay in the playoff picture till the trade deadline to maximize our available cap space. And it's not like we have, it's not like the money increases. It means that we can take on bigger contracts because it's protracted over the remainder of the season.
Prorated.
Yeah, thank you very much. So if we could wait till then and use our bargaining power at that point in time, I think that would help us better. If we can get Salo to come in and just put a little bit something different to the mix back on the D end. I mean, but I think this is a harbinger of good things to come. I definitely feel that we're going to make a move. Certainly I do. And I think Lou finally realizes he's listening, like I said, to the grumpy old man. And I think that he finally realizes we need to add a couple of pieces if we're going to contend.
I think we're in prime candidates to go ahead and do so. We're going to have like 15, 16 million in cap space if we don't address these items until the trade deadline. So here's the thing. As long as we don't fall off the rails, as long as we're not in a situation to where we are losing games hand over fist, that we're not in a playoff picture, as long as we're near the playoff picture, we're just going to keep riding, and we're going to be, even keel. We'll bring in Robin Salo possibly to help augment a little bit of the defensive help and support, maybe a little bit extra offensive acumen on the defensive side of the puck until the trade deadline rolls around. Once the trade deadline rolls around, that's where we're going to implement those newer individuals. Grump, I'll let you read this comment here.
I'll tell you what, I'm not even going to read the comment because I just want to say people forget how cool John Travolta was back in the day. He was like the hottest thing after Saturday Night Fever and Grease. He was on the TV show Welcome Back, Kotter. Man, he was hot as a firecracker back then. Fantastic. And he could dance. I've been in Pulp Fiction. I mean, man, he could dance. And I met him. What a nice guy. Just what a nice individual. And I wish him all the success in the world. I really do.
I didn't even know this was from. I assume this is from a Saturday
Night Fever. Yeah.
Saturday Night.
Yeah. Have you ever seen that movie?
No.
Gotta watch it. Gotta watch
the one where they shake their heads to the left.
Just don't touch my hair.
That's the one where they shake their heads, right? I see the commercials about.
No.
Oh, that's something at the Roxbury.
Oh,
I don't know, Grumpy. He's in a Roxbury movie, isn't he?
No. Do you know who John Travolta is?
Yeah, I know who John Travolta is.
Oh my gosh.
Michael T saying, in Lou we trust. I'll tell you. Again, I think we looked at it. It didn't really do as much as, the action we originally had wanted. This year has been a fantastic job by Lou. If we're talking about, again, grades of what he's done, I think this year he by far has done more work and, he's made more beneficial deals done for the Islanders in the Islanders' favor than he has any year in the past. And we talk about General Manager of the Year award. I'm going to sound like one of those Lou Lamoriello sipping sycophants, that's for certain. But if he has any, depending on what we do at the trade deadline, I think this year he has more of a right to say and a claim to say, all right, I should be General Manager of the Year than any of the prior years. If we're rating the last 2 years ago, last 2 years, he's won General Manager of the Year. If we're looking at this year, I would say this is probably the body of work where he's done the most is this season alone. In all likelihood, you're not going to win General Manager of the Year 3 years in a row.
Okay. I didn't think he deserved General Manager of the Year the 2 previous years. This year, he still does it because now what has he done really well? What has he done really well? He is freeing up cap space. But what's the thing that he has not done yet? He's not improved the team. Now, if he can get that done by picking up a primetime left-handed defenseman, a Giordano type, who, like we said earlier, is going to cost a lot. Not a whole lot of teams are going to be in on him with his salary and be able to get a sniper for the first line. If he can do that, then I feel he absolutely should deserve GM of the Year. But like I said, you can't do 2/3 of the job. It's like making a cake. But until you put the icing on the top, it's just cake.
That being said, he's done the majority of the job, Grumpy. And I think this year, right, I think he's poised. He has it set up to where he could be much more, his body of work this year could be much more, I would say, start to finish, I think more of a success this season than it had the last 2 years. And I just don't see there being any way possible a guy can win General Manager of the Year 3 years in a row. I just don't see it. And it's unfortunate, right? This year, probably, depending on what he does at the trade deadline, if he does what he's supposed to do, will probably be his most successful season. And he will not win General Manager of the Year is the funniest part about it.
Does the GM of the Year have like a name to it? Like the Hart Trophy or the Ross Trophy. Maybe they should call it the Lamoriello GM of the Year award. I mean, because let's be honest, he's been a great general manager for a long, long time.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's got the. I don't think it has. Oh, is it the Jim Gregory General Manager of the Year award?
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I think that's what it's called, the Jim Gregory General Manager of the Year award.
I guess if you pay enough money, you get your name on an award.
Alexander saying he did the Carlton when he found out that Leo was leaving.
The Carlton, yeah. Not unusual to be loved by anyone. That's
Cut.
Tom Jones.
I don't know who Tom Jones is.
Oh, no. You have never heard of Tom Jones?
No.
Oh, man. You got to look up old Tom Jones. He used to take cotton balls. He used to wear skin-tight pants. 1970s. He was a crooner from Wales. Delilah. What's Up, Pussycat? Just great songs like that. And he put cotton balls in his lower region to make it seem like his little schmenza was bigger than it was. And the women just absolutely, they loved him. Absolutely loved him.
I'm sure he did.
Tom freaking Jones.
Tom Jones. D-Cut. Grump, I'll let you read this one here.
I heard TJ's boy, Phil Fax, called into Twitter live show during my evening commute. Next thing I know, I was sound asleep on the side of the road. What happens is when Phil talks, he puts people asleep. That's why you have to, when you're listening to Phil, it's like taking no-dos. You don't want to go out and fire up some heavy machinery, to clear away a couple acres because you're going to go out. Same thing with Phil. Do not drive vehicles when Phil is talking.
Well,
that's what D-Cut's trying to say.
Well, the funny thing is anytime that there's a lot of this, I would say, I wouldn't even call it turmoil. This you talking about there, Grumpy? Tom Jones?
Yeah, there he is, man. Tom Jones.
Looky there.
My mother loved Tom Jones.
I'll go ahead and zoom it in there for you so you can get a little closer video. Never mind.
I know what Tom Jones looked like.
Fair enough, Grump. Hey, now I'll tell you this. Phil's Fax was going at it today on social media. Anytime there's moves made by the Islanders, he's always out there duking it out and boxing it out there with people. Go ahead, Grump.
I gotta say, Phil's pretty good on his facts. I mean, don't sell Phil short. I know he's good at cherry picking some facts too. I know he's good at that, but he's got his stuff together. He kind of knows what he's talking about, and I'm sure a lot of the sycophants, if he was speaking negatively about anything, the sycophants would be all over.
Scott L saying, I know it's only one game for Varlamov. He let in that bad 30-foot wrist shot, in which I know he would want back, but I think Sorokin has solidified himself as a number one goalie.
Yeah, I just, you heard Butch making excuses for Varlamov. There are no excuses. I didn't think he played poorly. He let in a Varlamov goal. That's what he does. At least he didn't give one up in the first minute. Okay, but let's be honest. As I've been saying all off season and all regular season, Sorokin's your number one. And I don't want Barry to have any excuse where he can make Varlamov the number one again. I don't want to see that. It's so obvious to anyone with eyes that Sorokin is the better goalie. I mean, and Varlamov did his job, right? You hear the people, Varlamov, he was number 5 in Vezina Trophy. He should have been contending for Vezina. He's a solid goalie who benefited from the system. Robin Leonard was the same thing. A solid goalie who benefited from the system and the coaching of Greco and Korn. There's nothing wrong with that. This kid is special. And with their coaching, he could be one of the top 3 goalies in the league, without a doubt. Varlamov, you're never going to see that from.
Here's the thing. You have a good problem when you're talking about who should be our number one goalie, and you're looking at Varlamov and Sorokin as your 2 candidates. Sorokin, I think, should be, he should be getting the lion's share of the starts. That being said, if you think to yourself on a situation, I've got, if I'm a 1A, 1B, and 1B now is Varlamov, you have a fantastic 1B, an absolutely fantastic 1B. And Sorokin, again, when dialed in, he's like a brick wall back there. John S. saying, can Lou convince Bailey to cancel his contract too? Only then will I jump in the Lou we trust bandwagon.
I don't even want to say he's the weak link, but he doesn't fit on the first line. He didn't fit on the second line. He's a third line guy, preferably in the Parise spot, to be honest with you. We need a top line sniper. And, no offense to Josh Bailey. Everyone knows I bag on him.
Well, here's the question, right? We talked about where are we going to find space? What are we going to do? Could you not see this being a scenario? Seriously, think about this, ladies and gentlemen. Comment below what you think of it too, because I want to hear your opinions on it. You're going to have a situation. We're going to bring in a left-handed defenseman, top 4 left-handed defenseman. Either Andy Green or Zdeno Chara is going to sit. We are going to bring in a right winger. I promise you, we're going to bring in a right winger, a guy who's got the ability to play both left and right wing. What I think we're going to see have happen, he's going to slide in and play alongside Anders Lee and Matt Barzal. We're going to have a bona fide top line right winger. We're going to see Josh Bailey take the role in some capacity from Parise. I think we're going to see Bailey get moved down to the third line, and you're going to see a third line of Pajot, Bailey, and Oliver Wahlstrom. Remember, Wahlstrom also played left wing. He played left wing last year in the playoffs. He played left wing towards the tail end of the year. He could play left wing again if need be. But you talk about that, right? You've got a guy who's a playmaker type in John Gabriel Pajot. You got a guy who's an excellent passer and a facilitator in Josh Bailey. And you've got a guy who's an absolute sniper in Oliver Wahlstrom. I think it makes that third line, if you're talking about the quintessential pieces to make it a complete line, I think that makes it a complete line. And you also can address the top line need to add a bona fide, top 6 right wing. So I think that is what we're looking at. I think that's what we're going to look at here at the trade deadline.
Bailey can play left wing. He can play anywhere up and down the lineup. His suck, it doesn't matter what side he plays on, okay? But as a third line winger, I don't have a problem with him. I don't, because that's where I think his talent level truly lies. I just wonder who we could possibly get. I mean, I don't want to jump right back into Philip Forsberg again, like I said last year. I'd love to see him on this team. I think he'd fit like a glove, honestly. What's the price for somebody like that? I don't know. It's still long ways off. Still long ways off till deadline.
Oh, it's tough not to think about it, right? Because we all know the implications of what this move sets the groundwork for. It sets the groundwork for. I'm talking about. I want to even argue this might be the most notable trade deadline in Islanders history. I think it sets the framework for that. If you're talking about, you could be bringing in essentially 2 individuals that can comprise of 15.5, 16 million in cap space. So you're talking about 2 legitimate. You're talking about bona fide, definitely top 4 defensemen, and you're talking about definitely a top 6 winger at the trade deadline that are going to play macho minutes for you and hopefully produce. This could be one of the most notable trade deadlines in Islanders history.
I'm going to tell you one thing. If we're somehow able to pick up Philip Forsberg and Mark Giordano at the trade deadline, regardless of the results, you will not hear me rip Lou Lamoriello. You will not hear it, because that means, you know what? He went out, he identified an issue finally after 3 or 4 years of getting that top line sniper and an established veteran defenseman. And regardless of if we win a cup or not, at least he went for it for high-end talent. Not Kyle Palmieri, because Kyle Palmieri to me is not a high-end guy. JG Pajot, as much as I like him, he's a third-line center. Somebody who can move the needle. That's a Philip Forsberg. And Mark Giordano, really good.
Mark Hayes saying, Lou's a genius. Hey, I'm telling you, he's setting the groundwork, right? I'll say it again. Very dubious of Lou when it started. Very dubious, right? At the trade deadline, always kind of left scratching my head. Do we overpay for guys? If we're able to make moves to add legit top-end talent, you will not hear me complain about Lou Lamoriello, and I will say this year was a fantastic success by him. I think it's already been a fantastic success by him so far. I just don't want to see him squander and blunder this cap space away.
Yeah, Mark, no disrespect, but until he brings in guys to actually improve the team, he's not a genius in my book. He's done a good job shedding salary, very good job. Now you got to take that next step.
I think he will take the next step. I've always been optimistic of him. Every little bit of optimism I've had has always come up short, but I really do believe this is, if you're an Islander fan, this is the time where you could be, even if you're usually a pessimistic, even if you're a realist of a fan, this is a time period you can be very optimistic about what can happen. Tom H said, go ahead, Grump.
Yeah, I just want to say that I don't want him to get Tarasenko. Why? Would you say because I like Tarasenko as a player? Because if he had to give up more to get Tarasenko now, I'd lose my freaking mind when you could have had him for a second and a depth defenseman.
Okay. Gotcha. Well, that's a topic for another time. Tom H said Lou realizes that trade acquisitions are cheaper than free agents. I
Well, they're cheaper monetarily for certain, but when you're giving up all your assets, you can't build a team through trade line acquisitions. You have to build through the draft.
That being said, all the trade acquisitions we've been bringing in are all guys that we've re-signed to this point, except your Travis Zajac and your Colburns. So
And you're paying free agent prices for them, maybe a little bit less. But the whole thing is you don't that's why you're in salary cap trouble, because you don't have any cheaper players on your roster, which the young guys are. They're playing on entry level deals, so you can spend on those other guys.
in order to be a long-term success, you have to hope for production from younger players that are on those more manageable deals. You have to hope to integrate them in. That being said, talk about salary cap issues. We said it this offseason. Lou Lamoriello better find a financial wizard, whatever. You could term it however you want, a magician at finance. He did that. He was able to go ahead and do that, and I think he's done a fantastic job by shedding cap.
I don't know if they have a capologist on this team.
Whoever was advising Lou, if it was Lou, he should go ahead and also add capologist to his name, or whoever's been advising him on what to do should also be given an additional title and pay bump.
It's a little bit easier in the NHL with the hard cap, but maybe you ask the garbage man if he knows if they have a capologist, because I think they're invaluable. Guys who know the ins and outs of the cap, how you can manipulate it. And I don't think that's Lou. Honestly, I don't think that's him. It's usually like a young little guy with a little pencil protector and the little glasses and stuff like that. And they're good at their job. And, hopefully Lou has hired one of them. Ask the garbage man. He can help you.
Michael T said, so is there any way to tell who will be available at the trade deadline? I think it's going to be players that, think about it. Nashville, I don't think is going to be in a competition to compete for a cup. I don't think the Seattle Kraken are. If we're just throwing names out there, I think those are going to be, your highest vaunted trade deadline possible acquisitions of Mark Giordano and Philip Forsberg. So we'll see how it goes. I think those are going to be two targets we definitely have.
I think Giordano will be one because the Kraken will not be in the playoff hunt. Here's the thing. Other than that, you really can't tell because you don't know which teams are going to be in the playoff, who are contending for the playoffs, who feel they have a shot to win a cup, or who's going to fall out of the race. It's usually the teams that unexpectedly fall out of the race. Those are the guys who they start selling off. Right now, Nashville is not one of those teams. I hope they are. You're going to have to pay for Forsberg. But to me, Lou has shown when he acquires somebody and he wants them that he is able to re-sign them. So everyone knows my affinity for Philip Forsberg. I think he'd be perfect for us.
Brian P. saying, how come everyone says that Lou can't get this guy or that guy because of the cap, but Vegas always finds a way always grabs the big fish?
They're smarter.
You just got to be creative with it. And anytime you hear that, it's just kind of like, yeah, okay. I think it's mentally obtuse.
I think, look at that. Big phrase by TJ.
I'm coming, baby. I'm coming, Grump. I'm coming today. What can I say? This move by Lou Lamoriello has made me excited. Here's the thing. Even though I look at what the state of the team currently is, I'm kind of like, But you look at in the last week, we go ahead and trade away Johnny Boychuk's long-term injury, and we're able to now amass about $10 million of cap space at the trade deadline, and we get future considerations from that trade where we gave away essentially cap. It's like they were the Islanders of past, and we had to bring in Tim Thomas. We had to trade a second or a third round pick to bring in Tim Thomas for the Boston Bruins, and we trade away Johnny Boychuk and get future considerations back. Have no idea what it is, and we also get rid of Leo Komarov's cap hit, which is going to give us about 15-16 million at the cap at the trade deadline, and we didn't have to give anything up. That makes me excited.
I thought we had to give up future considerations with Johnny.
I think we were taking it. Okay, but again, who knows? Whatever it is, that probably the future considerations I don't assume are going to be much, whether we're receiving or losing. I'm not anticipating that to be much.
You have to be willing to get rid of guys on your roster to make these deals. And right now, we have not shown that we're willing to dump any of our core pieces to acquire a big name player. Vegas is not afraid to do that. They're not afraid to do that.
JK said, Grump, I can only imagine what's going through your mind when you found out that Leo was going to the KHL. Lou from the landline ain't calling you anytime soon.
Here's the thing. He learned his lesson. Lou from the landline learned his lesson. He knows. Lou Lamoriello learned his lesson too. I should have listened to the grumpy old man when he told me months and months and months ago what to do. I didn't do it. Now retroactively, I'm trying to do it. Let's hope it works out.
Alexander saying, yeah, I wonder if Lou posed off a deal for first line right winger, left-handed defenseman at the trade deadline, moves Bailey to the third line, moves Parise to healthy scratch. I 100% think that is what the plan is.
That's optimal.
That is with no injuries. Mind you guys, we're also only 10 games into the season. We could have a season-ending injury. We could have a guy with severe injury out, which completely changes the picture 100%. So it's always good to say, hey, knock on wood, assuming everything stays the same, assuming we stay healthy. That's how it works. D-Cut saying we already lost a whole bunch of comments from the Isles Misery Rated R Facebook group. No, we didn't, D-Cut. Not losing any comments. Mark A saying, bring what, Grumpy?
I just want to say what TJ's trying to do is incorporate the comments earlier.
Read it. I don't need to tell that.
And I think he's doing a great job at it. I hate to give TJ kudos, but I think he's doing a great job.
Gotcha, Grumpy. Mark A saying, bring up Salo.
Wait till after Christmas, first of the year. I want him playing a lot of minutes. There's no reason to bring him up here to play him every couple of 2-3 games and have him play, 10 or 12 minutes back there in defense. Load him up, put him in every situation down in Bridgeport, play him 25 minutes a night, every situation. That's what they need to do with him.
Brian P said, Giordano, no, please. And TJ, not sure about right wing. How about left wing? Goodbye, Parise. I think we're going to put whoever we bring in on the first line. I don't think we're bringing somebody in to slot him on the third line, even though that's what we've done technically the last 2 seasons, right? You look at this moves we've made. When we brought in Jean-Gabriel Pageau, put him on the third line center. Went from a second line guy in Ottawa to third line guy for us. We look at last year, we bring in Kyle Palmieri. We tried to play him on the first line, didn't give him much time to gel, and we moved him down to the third line. I don't think we're going to be bringing in a guy to slide in for the third line. I think we're going to bring in a guy looking to be a bona fide top line right wing.
For us to truly contend for a Stanley Cup with the potential of winning it, we need a first line right wing because they're not moving Anders Lee. That's not happening. Vegas would make a move like that. If they could get somebody, they wouldn't be opposed to moving an Anders Lee type.
Vegas. Okay. Anders Lee is older and he's got a huge contract with Mitchum. I think almost unmovable.
I'm just saying core piece.
John P saying Giordano, his stats this year: 13 games played, 3 goals, 4 assists, 7 points, -2. I'm not sure how he's played though. And again, remind you that Seattle team is not that stout, so I'll be very interested to see how he would play on a team that's more defensive oriented, like with us.
I'd love that idea for him, but like I said, you're in it. Then it's all in for this year. That's what it is. All in for this year.
We've heard it already, right? We've heard already. They said it's essentially Stanley Cup or bust. And here's the thing. What I think we're going to do is we're going to bring in Mark Giordano. I could see us signing him back to a 1-year extension. You talk about how we try to keep the window relatively open. You give Salo a little bit of experience, maybe some playoff action here or there, depending on what's going on. Next year, Robin Salo is a guy. He's a starter from day one. And Mark Giordano is a guy you sign on a 1-year contract to go ahead and allow a guy like Samuel Bolduc slowly to get acclimated to the system as well, acclimated to the NHL game, because that would be his 3rd year down there in Bridgeport. He would probably be saying, I'm ready to take the next step. So that's what I've always believed was kind of in their line of succession regarding the defensive system, regarding the defensive players.
You have me totally juiced for Mark Giordano. If we don't get them, I'm coming after you, TJ.
What can I say? I'm telling you, I'm all in or general. I just think he's a perfect fit for us. Here's the thing: I'm not sure if I thought of that or if Phil's Facts thought of that. But if Phil's Facts, I don't want to steal ideas. If Phil's Facts brought it up to me first or whoever it was, I want to give him credit. But go ahead.
Here's the thing: if Phil's Facts brought it up to you, maybe you just heard it in a dream.
Oh man! Oh goodness gracious! Brian P said Luke got the Russian mob to pick up Leo. They owed him a favor.
Hey, you got to cash in when you got to cash in, right? Maybe Fetisov, Lou said, hey, Slava, can you do something with Kami over here with your buddy Lollipop? Bring him back. Sure, Lou. You got me over there to Jersey. You got me out of Mother Russia. Let's do it.
Michael T is saying, just because Lou doesn't do everything exactly the way Grumpy says it should, doesn't mean that he's not doing good things.
All I'm going to say is he's done nothing to actually improve the team on the ice in the last couple of years. It's basically the same cast and crew.
Except if you look at trade deadlines.
Right. But you should do most of your work in the offseason, not at trade deadline. Cost you too much then.
We always take a big stab at the trade deadline. I don't think that's ever going to change or anything like that. And then Michael T also saying, oh, damn, Grumpy snorting imaginary cocaine. That was scary.
Yeah. Well, what can I tell you? Everybody knows the reference. And for those who don't like TJ, he doesn't know who Tony. You know who played Tony Montana in Scarface?
I don't know, Grump.
Al Pacino. Thank you.
Yeah. Alexander saying, this is how the conversation went between Leo and Lou. Lou said, hello, Leo. I've got so much dirt on you. You better agree to part ways with the Islanders. Nobody wants you. I don't like you. Leo said, no, Lou, please. I can't. I can't put up points.
Actually, this is how it went. Hello, Leo. I have so much dirt on you that you better agree to part ways with the Islanders. No one wants you. I don't want you. I don't like you.
No, Lou, please. I can't put up points. Just please give me a chance.
No chance in hell. You're fired.
God almighty, Grumpy. It took you a while to get that second one. Okay, fair enough. Maybe the acting gig isn't for us. Michael M.
Here's the thing. Everyone knows I love Alexander, but he needs to put more spacing in there. So, because it's tough keeping up like that.
Michael M. saying, Grumpy, are you going to the home opener? Right? Hey, here's another thing, right? This is overshadowed by UBS home opener on the way the 13th, Grumpy, on Monday.
It has, it has not, for most fans.
I'm sorry, not the 13th. Continue.
The unintelligent fans, it has not overshadowed the home opener. That's going to be big. I just wish we weren't playing Calgary. That's all.
20th. I don't know how the hell I screwed that up. The 20th, on the 20th, November 20th, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know. I'm psyched. Now, did you hear, Grumpy? They're not allowing at UBS Arena, they're not going to allow people to tailgate or to honk their horns. They get upset when they go, let's go Islanders, dun, 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 with their horns. So they're going to say that they're not allowing people to tailgate or to blow their horns at UBS Arena.
Why?
I couldn't tell you. Maybe noise complaints. Honestly, I couldn't tell you what's the big deal with them hitting the horns. They do it at every game. They do it even when you go to an Islanders game, when you're with Islander fans that are not even from the area. If you go to like an Arizona Coyote games, if you can find Islander fans, they do the same thing. They always hit their horns. It's just wherever they do. Islander fans always do it.
No fun for you.
Yes. Now, Scott L. said, Grumpy, you going to the movies tomorrow night to see Rocky IV, the director's cut?
Honestly, I did not even know there was a Rocky IV director's cut. I mean, what are we going to see? Dolph Lundgren taking more steroids. Maybe see a little bit more of Bridget Nielsen when she was hot. I have no idea. I mean, of all the Rockies, that's probably one of the worst ones. Let's be honest.
John Smith here saying, it didn't even look like the same team between the Winnipeg Jets and the Minnesota Wild games.
Yeah. I mean, that's, you know what? It's going to take a few more back-to-backs and 3 out of 4s before I can make a real accurate judgment on that. Is it just because we're older that we're not able to do it on the back-to-backs like that? People forget Minnesota played a back-to-back too, and they had to travel to get back home. Is that it? Or was it just an off night? It reminded me of the earlier games in the season where we were outplayed for the most part and were somehow able to win games because the other team wasn't as good. We'd get a couple. And I think we've had great puck luck this year. Puck luck's kind of funny, Sometimes, it's going your way. And then when it goes the other way, it's like, that's a game we should have won. We wound up losing. But, I mean, we've been pretty lucky this year. Scoring that first goal is so important to this team. And I think we've done it 8 games in a row, which gives us a distinct advantage the way we play.
We're a team that plays much better while ahead than while behind. That is for certain.
Yeah.
Absolutely, Grumpy. Now, Mario says, get ready for Niedermeyer and Alexander McGillney.
Niedermeyer, dead.
No.
Marmalade, dead.
I don't even know what the hell that's from, Grump.
Animal House.
Oh. Michael T said, I blame the Minnesota loss entirely on Varlamov. When he came out to play the puck, which resulted in a goal, changed the entire complexion of the game.
True. I blame the first goal on him, and I thought the pass was terrible, which set up the whole play. And I just thought he was slow getting across and getting set. It seemed like he never got set. And I just think he suffers in comparison to Sorokin. Sorokin is a better puck handler back there than Varlamov is. And I think that hurt. That's not why. All right. He did give up the goal at the end, which was a really weak one. We were outplayed by a ton. That game was reminiscent of most of the games this season where we've been dominated, but we just seem to get a goal in the last minute, a goal in the first minute. There's been a lot of games like that, and Minnesota just shook it off. And you know what? They're really good in one-goal games. Really good in one-goal games. That's something about them.
Robert G said, Grumpy, time to do the Komarov Macarena.
Yeah. I can't think of lyrics this
Macarena.
I understand, but if I'm going to add Komarov stuff in there, I need more than like 6 seconds. Even I do.
Oh man, I'll leave that up for you, Grumpy. Now Michael T said, and what's happening to the Panthers? 2 straight losses, one to the Rangers, one to the Devils.
Anytime that you wind up losing a game, your first game of the year, I think it'll come after a big win streak like that, and you finally lose. I think the team kind of lets down a little bit. Here's the thing about the Ranger game. They were down, I think 4-0 going into the third period. And they came back, and I honestly thought they were going to come back and beat the Rangers. They were buzzing the net the last 5 minutes. I think they scored 2 goals in the last 5 minutes. But the Rangers were able to hold them off. Kudos to the Rangers. The Devils game shocked me. I don't know if that's the Panthers. It worries me about tomorrow night. Or maybe the Devils come in overconfident since they beat Florida and they roll over and die. We'll see tomorrow.
Michael M. likes the shirt design, thinks maybe it could be an alternate jersey design, Grumpy.
I would love an alternate jersey that the Islanders that you could. I'd love the old fisherman jersey for an alternate.
Brian P. said, take it easy. Don't compare anyone to Connor McJesus. I love Barzal, but he's not quite that high up. But on Florida, Tampa, Washington, Carolina, he'd definitely be in the 90 to 100 point range.
I don't think anyone said he was McDavid.
No, I said.
Oh, you did?
If you would put up points like McDavid, like your Dry Saddles, people of that ilk.
No. They're the 2 best players in the league. I think he's definitely a 100-point scorer. Somewhere else, though. A team that plays a little bit of offense. He'd be the best player on, in my opinion, on Toronto. He'd be perfect for them. They give up a bunch of goals, but they'd score. He'd have well over 100 points for them with some real wingers.
That's my point, Grumpy. I'm just thinking about him being on one of those teams that have a heavy forward check, the teams that say offense all the time, don't care about defense. I'm saying he would definitely average over a point a game.
But here's the thing now, right? What he's learned from Barry Trotz and the system would make him, and I think this benefits actually defensemen who leave the Islanders system as well. They know how to play the defensive game. They know how to play a 2-way game. If that kid ever hit free agency, he'd clean up. He'd absolutely clean up.
Scott L saying Lou gave Leo an ultimatum, and he told Leo that you'll be banished to Siberia if you aren't accepting it, if you don't accept being put on unconditional waivers.
He probably lives in Siberia anyway. He doesn't care. He just wants to play. Speaking of alternate jersey designs, I wanted to show the last jersey design we've got there, the last logo design. Now we just got to work on getting them up. We're going to approve this one, but we want to show you guys the last one, the enemy of the cartel. You see it? It's the grumpy old man. I'm sorry.
Shattering the cartel. Look at that.
That's not a flattering picture of me. I mean, I first of all, my hair is not super gray like that. It's more of a salt and pepper color. And I look like I got beat up.
Goodness gracious, Grump. I like it. What can I say? I like the design, Grumpy. Enemy of the cartel. Look at that. Enemy of the cartel media. I love it. I love it, Grump. Putting your opinions out there, and look at you. Looking mean and menacing, Grumpy. Maybe you just have a little more gray hair than you thought.
No. I'm getting a haircut this Saturday. I know how much gray hair is on the ground when I'm done.
How much
It's
hair
not all
goes,
gray. I'm telling you right now.
how much hair goes on the ground?
A lot.
Doesn't look like a grump. LGI says, why is Lou getting rid of Cap? Maybe there's a trade coming soon. I promise you, LGI, there's a trade coming at this year's trade deadline. I think there's going to be 2 of them. And I think we're all going to be hopefully in shock and awe in a good way regarding what moves the Islanders make. Hopefully not in a bad light.
There has to be a trade on the horizon or 2. Why? Because these players, this was the last year of their deals anyway. If you're not going to use that money now, you lose it. It's not like, okay, well, we've gotten rid of Johnny and he's gets $6 million for the next 3 years and Leo gets $3 million for the next 5 years. No, their contracts were expiring at the end of this year. I don't like to use the word guarantee, but I feel confident there will be a couple of moves at the trade deadline or maybe before, but we have to swing for the fences and actually connect this time. Get somebody who's a difference maker. Get some difference makers, not auxiliary pieces, difference makers. That's what the team needs.
Christopher C. said, Grumpy, why don't you run the general manager position after Lou retires? You're very talented in knowing the team's strengths and weaknesses. TJ can be the head coach. Now, Christopher, I love the idea of Grumpy being general manager. I don't want to be a head coach. I want to bring on another old co-host that's very grumpy so we can make fun of the grumpy old man's poor decisions. So I could sit in the same spot, ride the fence, and have somebody else drilling into the grumpy old man. That'd be fine by me.
That's what I think. TJ would want to be assistance coach. This way he wouldn't have to take any of the slings and arrows and he could ride the fence because he doesn't want to take any heat.
That's it. And Michael T. also saying Varlamov played that great game aside from that puck, which resulted in a goal and it changed the complexion of the game, but played a good game. I think so too. Yeah. Alexander also said, yeah, I agree. You can't put all the blame on Varlamov, but you got to be positive. Lee's looking good so far this season too. Anders Lee.
Okay. Matt Barzal is why Anders Lee is looking as good as he's looking. It's all Matt Barzal. All of it.
It was a fantastic shot, a fantastic pass there to Anders Lee. It was a good connection by Anders Lee to put that second goal in too.
Yeah, it's Matt Barzal. And I'm not ripping average here, not at all. He got in position to convert that, but that's both those goals are Matt Barzal plays, both of them.
John P. said, Lou has some contacts in the New York area, Russian mafia. I'm going to make Leo an offer he can't refuse. Grandpa, let you do this.
I'm going to make Leo an offer he can't refuse.
You forgot to do the big underbite.
No, it's not even an underbite. It's just like he just had, Marlin, they put the little prosthetic piece in there.
Well, no, I thought he said he had to go ahead and sleep with some sort of item like that where it screwed up his jaw forever, or I'm thinking something wrong.
No, you're thinking something wrong as usual. They built something at the because they wanted him to screen test. Paramount wanted Marlin to screen test for that role, and Coppola said he wasn't going to do that, but he kind of worked his way into it. How would you play this guy like a bulldog? And Marlon Brando, for the uninitiated, put cotton balls in his mouth and puffed him out. It's on, if you ever watch Godfather Legacy, it's in the extras. It's really something to see a guy creative like that. Marlon Brando is probably the greatest movie actor of all time.
Good to know, Grumpy. But before we continue, we do have an ad from DraftKings to read. The NHL season is underway, and DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL, has an unbelievable offer to celebrate the greatest sport on ice. New customers can bet just $1 on any NHL game and win $100 in free bets if either team scores a goal. Doesn't matter if it's a one-time clapper or a deft deflection. However they light the lamp, you win. If Sportsbook isn't available yet in your state, DraftKings won't leave you empty-handed. Everybody can play for huge cash prizes all season long with DraftKings daily fantasy sports contests. DraftKings is giving all new customers a free shot of millions of dollars in total prizes with their first deposit. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use the promo code THPN and throw down $1 on any NHL game and win $100 in free bets if either team scores a goal. This week, one puck in the nets you a big win with promo code THPN at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. Must be 21 years or older in New Jersey, Indiana, or Pennsylvania only. New customers only. Minimum of a $5 deposit and $1 wagers required. One per customer. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for full details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
TJ, that was an aggressive read of the ad there.
I feel like I did it super quick.
I thought it was good, actually. What do you think the odds of Josh Bailey scoring a goal is? I mean,
he's got a goal already this year.
I mean, tomorrow night, 150 to 1.
Well, it's funny you mention that. Frank K said, and now Frank watches all the Devils games. He said, if anybody thinks tomorrow's game is going to be easy, then they don't see the Devils games enough. They're pests on a forecheck, and they gave Florida fits last night.
Okay. I have not watched the Devils this year. And if that's the case, that's our kryptonite. Teams that are really aggressive on the forecheck give us problems. That said, I still think we beat the Devils.
Brian P. saying his KHL team will put him on the fourth line where he belongs.
Yeah, well, I mean, in the KHL, he's probably a second liner on the KHL team. Not a first liner, though.
JK said, I'm assuming Grump was upset because Leo's utilization as a first-line winger was a waste. He goes from first line to KHL in several months. I can't imagine Grump thought his utilization was a waste when better players could have been used in his place.
Bingo. He's exactly right. I mean, Jake the Snake is exactly right. He knows, a.k.a. Lou from the landline. He's exactly right. It's not the player. The player's easy to pick on. It makes the show better, honestly. But that's a Barry thing, right? Barry put him in a place, like I said, Barry has issues putting square pegs in round holes, period. He never gave Wallstrom a shot. That hurt us in the playoffs. He should have at least given him a chance. That's all.
Greg Frost, you're saying Croc played a great game, but until he shows up on a regular basis, he's still Croc.
Exactly, Greg.
Brian P. said, TJ was only kidding about Leo. He blows it Lou's fault for that hideous 4-year, $12 million contract.
Yeah, it's not the player's fault. I don't blame a player for ever getting a contract. It's a dumb move by a GM, and it's a dumb move by a coach, but the player should always get as much money as he can. Careers are finite.
Coach Tommy B said, Grumpy old man must be so heartbroken about Uncle Leo leaving. Grump, seriously, I do want to know, because I know you're a big fan of his. I know you and Art Staple were writing articles back and forth with each other saying Leo Komarov adds a stability the Islanders haven't seen since Butch Goring on the ice. And I just wanted to know, because of those lofty expectations you had from first line, fantastic left winger to now KHL. I mean, Grumpy, how are you going to sleep tonight, man?
Like a baby. You know what? Like I said, I hate being right all the time. We were the only people who were saying Leo on the first. When I say we, I'm talking about the Islander fanboy sites, the Staples, the Grosses. They're all, oh yeah, this is a great move. No, it's not. It never was.
I think we were, and people in our community, people who listen to this podcast, we saw a lot of like-minded individuals thinking the same thing. Like, what the hell are we doing here? A lot of people who listen to the podcast would comment like, yeah, I'm confused by this as well. And they'd have the same exact thoughts. People who listen to the podcast, people who've been here, no, they were always questioning, what the hell was this? Why were we doing this? And again, it just kind of further blows to fruition that, yeah, maybe that wasn't the greatest of all moves, but hey, not living in the past.
I like to live in the past. It's a fun because I can see how smart I was back then. So I like to live in the past. That's fine. But like I said, I'm not talking about the people. I'm talking about websites, podcasts. They all drink the Lou Kool-Aid or the Lou Lemonade.
Gotcha.
Not us here.
Coach Tommy B also saying there, how you both doing tonight? We're doing well, Coach Tommy B. Doing well. Next Wednesday, we're going to be doing well, too. Seeing Coach Tommy B on the podcast as well. Brian P. saying, Eisman would never sign Leo. He's way too good of a general manager. He loves speed and skill.
Right. You would not see him sign. I mentioned that earlier. No way.
Aaron G also saying the Red Wings are finding their stride, 7-5-2, and the Red Wings have been a fun team to follow this year. Let's go Red Wings. I tell you, the Red Wings, Stevie Y knows how to build them, man.
He's a great general manager. He is.
Oh, no, I did not see that about Noah Dobson. Now, we're not going to say anything. I did not see an article negatively talking about Noah Dobson. I mean, that being said, I think Noah
that makes sense, though.
Struggled. He struggled. I think he struggled last night. I think I'm looking for a little bit more consistency in his game. I'm not going to tear into him that much. I need to see more consistency. I do.
I don't talk about that website.
Okay, Grump, I don't need you to mention it like that either. But yeah, Grumpy.
I'm saying I don't talk about that website.
I'm not talking about that, Grumpy. I'm talking about Noah Dobson. Can you talk about Noah Dobson, or are you unable to fathom that?
I didn't read their article. I have no idea what they said.
Can you talk about what your expectations of Noah Dobson are? Thank you. That's what I'm looking for.
I thought he played poorly on Sunday night. He's not the reason why they're losing.
Do you think he struggled this year?
I think he struggled on Sunday night. I thought he was terrible. Butch tried to single out on the power play that somehow Matt Barzal made a mistake because he lost the puck behind the end line, the Minnesota end line with 3 guys on him. And he tried to say that Barzal made a bad decision. It was Noah Dobson who turned the puck over after having it, after Bailey got walked around by Marcus Foligno on the power play. That was a Noah Dobson thing all the way. And I didn't think he played well the other night, particularly on the power play.
I think this year, I was expecting him to take more of a jump forward. I really was with Noah Dobson. I was expecting him to take more of a jump forward. And he's making a lot of those boneheaded mistakes that I saw him make as a rookie.
It's easy to pick on Noah Dobson.
I'm not picking on him. I'm
just saying it's easy to pick on Noah Dobson when he makes one mistake, because that's what the team wants you to do. That's what they want.
Here's the thing. I pick on everybody the same. I pick on Big Z, pick on Andy Green. I pick on Pellick and Pulak when they make mistakes. Hey, I usually give rookies a little bit of a protective bubble where I don't pick on them a little bit because I know it comes with the territory of being a young guy. Right? Noah Dobson now has played quite a few games in the NHL. I'm expecting him to start picking up his game a little bit. I'm expecting, you saw on the power play, bad mistake too with the line. He's got to start rounding out a little bit, I think, Grumpy Old Man. Jim P saying, nah. Hey, and goodbye. John V said, Grumpy Old Man, do you think that Uncle Leo will have his number retired at the new arena?
No. He won't even have his number retired at the old arena. He might have his number retired at a KHL arena near you.
Gotcha, Grump. Absolutely gotcha. And then Kai B said, trade deadline sleeper target Patrick Kane.
No.
How many years left does he have on the contract?
I don't know. I can let you know if you can ad lib here for 5 minutes. I can let you know.
You're awful at co-hosting like that, Grumpy. Don't even bother. I'll pull it up as I'm talking. Frank K said he broke his couch and got a replica. There,
2 years. He's got 2 years this year and next year on his contract.
God almighty, Grumpy. I don't need you to do that. I don't need you to. You do your job, Grumpy. I'll do.
You asked me how many years. I don't know.
I said I wonder, and then Grumpy. I need you to opine there for a second. D Cut said, Grump. These millennials like TJ don't know their movie history. Sad.
It is sad. You know, it's funny. I was talking with my son earlier today about, when was the last time they really had a classic movie come out? And he's like, oh, Avengers Endgame. I'm like, okay. And I loved Avengers Endgame. It's a comic book movie. I'm talking about something really, really good. Who are the great directors? There aren't any.
Grumpy, I don't watch movies. Jimmy S said, Danny, who the heck is this?
Denny Terrio.
Denny Terrio taught John Travolta everything he knew when it came to dancing.
It was a show called Dance Fever. Denny Terrio's Dance Fever. Syndicated show.
Alexander saying, TJ, wow, your men card is revoked. That ID is nowhere near Saturday Night Fever.
Yeah. It was embarrassing.
Michael T also saying Travolta is a maniacal, or he's a maniacal Scientologist. The man is batshit crazy.
He is a Scientologist, but I can just
Tom Cruise also a Scientologist, and like all these actors are Scientologists, aren't they?
yeah, not all, but yeah, there were quite a few. But I'm just telling you, he was a really nice guy, and I had a very nice extended conversation with him. Really nice guy.
Brian P said TJ's so bad with movies that you just asked if John Travolta was in Night at the Roxbury. I'd be honest with you, I don't watch movies. I don't. I've never been a big movie guy. Prancing around, I've just never been a big movie guy. I'd rather watch a sport or a documentary than something like that. Grumper, you're not gonna comment on that or anything like that, or will you get your attention? We got it. Here.
All I'm gonna say is that what else could I add to that? I mean, he's
low hanging fruit. Usually, you snap at every piece of low hanging fruit there is.
I've already ripped you on that earlier today.
Coach Hobby said, also heard Brian P was weeping for 3 hours this morning. Scott L saying, this Bob Murray out in Anaheim. Do you think that Lou might target Ricard Raquel and Elias Lindholm?
Raquel doesn't move the needle enough for me, and neither does Lindholm. I just don't think that either of them. If you give me a Giordano and a Forsberg, then we're in it. Then I'm like, okay, we have a legit shot. Ricard Raquel, I mean, to me, he's very similar to Palmieri from last year. Not a guy who moves the needle. Why did I want him last year? Because he could have been part of the future. And I just don't think Lindholm is that good. He's okay, but I don't think he's that good.
And then John V saying, I'll take the cup this year. Someone else can win the general manager of the year.
100% agree. 100% agree.
Jimmy S saying, what's new, Pussycat?
Whoa.
What's the cake?
Yeah, but you got to have frosting on cake. You just can't have the cake. It has to have a little frosting on there.
Warzone Senior Citizen said, the Islanders will target an elite winger. Grumpy old man, name your top three the way you want other than Tarasenko.
I think Phil Forsberg. I'd like Leo Draisaitl. I'd like, it's just who's realistic, right? Maybe Forsberg if they fall out of the race and his contract situation. I can't see Patrick Kane coming here. He's a left wing. Who do you sit? I mean, is he going to have to acquiesce to Anders Lee? I mean, then I guess we would have our final indignation on who's better, and TJ would lose on that.
Patrick Kane's a right wing. He's not a left wing.
Okay.
Well, just set the record straight.
He's 10.5 per. He's 10.5 per. So
I'm aware. I know. I don't think Patrick Kane's the way. Got another one here. Angelo said, I don't want Giordano. He's another old ass. I'm just saying, if we're thinking about guys that fit the MO of what this team does, right, wrong, or indifferent, I don't think we're going after a 24, 25-year-old defenseman. I think we're going after a guy who's a grizzled veteran who's got playoff experience.
Yes. And he's on his last year of his deal. I mean, I think they're just in it for now. It's for the right now. And as long as they actually go out and get a couple of studs, I'm fine with it, honestly. You can't just do the same thing year after year and expect different results from an older team. Can't happen.
I don't think we're going to. I think that's going to be addressed here this year. And I really do believe, hey, this is the year, Grumpy. This is the year we're going to make a big splash here at the trade deadline. We're going to bring in bona fide top guys. Coach Tommy B saying, grumpy old man sings Tom Jones on his couch after a tall glass of prune juice.
Well,
there it is, Grumpy. It
looks like prune juice. It looks like prune juice, but it's not.
Jimmy S. They're saying, same here, Grump. My mom loves him too. All the broads did.
They all did. Oh my gosh. Mike Douglas show he'd be on, or Merv Griffin. They loved him.
Oh, man. Frank K. saying, you drink Metamucil. Oh, man. Grumpy.
I do not drink Metamucil, but thank you for the concern, Frank.
What's Metamucil, Grump?
It's like a thing to keep you regular.
There it is. And then Alexander said, TJ, my wife heard your comment about thinking that Travolta was on Nights of the Roxbury. She goes, how old? Is he, and has he lived under a rock? I just don't watch movies.
Alexander's wife thinks you live under a rock.
Hey, we don't see what goes on outside of this little space in this little cubicle. Maybe it is some sort of dark dwelling cave or something like that. Michael T said, "How would you guys compare Sorokin's first game versus Varlamov's first game played?"
I thought Varlamov played better than Sorokin's first game. Sorokin's a way better goalie, Michael. Don't even. I know where he's going. If you think that Varlamov's going to take his game to another level at 34 years old, you're seriously mistaken.
Where do you think he's going, Grumpy? Where do you think he's going with that comment?
I know where he's going. He's one of Lou and Barry's boys, so he wants Varley in there all the time.
1 million said, "I'd love to hear Lou and Barry explain how Leo was good enough to be a first-line winger in the playoffs a few months ago, but now is not even good enough to crack in the lineup. I'm glad he's gone."
Next question. Andrew Gross says, Barry, how is it that Leo, from being a first-line stud, a guy who kept the team together, made that first-line hum, how is he not able to make the team? Next question. Or, we always have constant improvement on this team. If you're not getting better, you're getting worse. Whatever. What could they say? But that is the question I'd love to. Here's the thing. None of them have the balls to ask that question. Not one.
Whatever type of coach speak that they would go ahead and spew, that is for certain. Scott L said, "What about Thomas Hertl?" Or Tomas Hertl there from San Jose?
Doesn't move the needle for me. I want somebody who moves the needle. If you want to win a cup, you need somebody else who can move the needle. Patrick Kane fits that criteria. Phil Forsberg fits that criteria. I mean, I don't even know if Kane is available in the deal. He's been there forever. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. James F saying he's bought himself a Sorokin jersey. He's ready to go to the JT game the week from Sunday against the Toronto Maple Leafs at UBS.
That's a game I'm certain we win.
I think so too. D-Cut said, "I'd give up the moon, star, and the sun for Patrick Kane. The Blackhawks are cleaning house."
Did they really want to move him? I don't know. I don't know. I mean, here's the thing. If you might as well just sell the whole team if you're getting rid of him. He's by far their best player. He would all right. That's a difference maker. He's a difference maker. He improves our power play. He improves that first line. Does he play enough defense for Barry? Who knows?
James F saying, Mick Kern there from NHL Channel on Sirius said that Islander fans are the best fans in North America. Grump, I'll let you weigh in on that.
I don't know about that. I mean, I think Islander fans are great, but it's like, okay, Boston fans are pretty vocal too. I mean, I think our fan base is the most loyal, without a doubt. I mean, with all we've been through for years and years and years. But there are other fan bases that are pretty good too. I don't like to sell fan bases short. Ours is great though.
Josh M said, is Tarasenko back on the table now that Leo's gone? Bailey plus going the other way. We'd still have the cap, maybe to go after a left-handed defenseman as well.
St. Louis didn't want Bailey before. Why would they even want him now? And Tarasenko is playing great. And it seems like I said, time heals all wounds. He seems happy there. Why would they move him? They won't.
I was about to say, I'm just afraid that we missed the boat has sailed on that one. Jeff E said, is Parise just on an ultimate tryout now? Is he affected if there is a trade at the deadline? I think so, Grumpy, don't you?
Has to be. Has to be. It has to be. He has to be the odd man out. I mean, you're not going to put him on the fourth line. So, I mean, they're not going to get rid of Bailey as much as I'd love them to do that. He's just not a difference maker either. I mean, we have a lot of guys who aren't difference makers on this team, so does it really matter? But I think from an organizational standpoint, he'd be the guy most likely to sit on the bench. I mean, he's got no value.
No value. Yeah, fair enough, Grumpy. The cousin Mose said, so you think that we go from do you think that we go for Hampus Lindholm from the Ducks, perhaps?
I would rather go. Honestly, Giordano's really, really good, and he's rock solid defensively too. Didn't he win Norris Trophy a couple of years ago?
I'll have to pull that for us, Grump. So I'm not sure.
He was really good for Calgary, really good. I mean, if he didn't make what he made, he wouldn't have been exposed. I mean, I thought that was a good. I mean,
he did win a Norris Trophy back in the 2018-19 season. He's been top 10 in Norris Trophy finalists for like 4 or 5 years.
And you know whose name you're not going to see on that list? Hampus Lindholm. That's what I'm saying. If you're going for it, go for it. Absolutely go for it. I don't know what you need to give up. Do we have enough first-round draft picks in the next quarter century? I don't know.
Grumpy, what do you think about that? Michael T saying, whoa, Grumpy having a little faith in Lou's move making. Stay tuned.
I like what he's done to free up cap space. Now comes the most important part, though, which he failed in the offseason. And let's see if he gets it right at the deadline, because he absolutely failed in the offseason, making the team better. F-, failed it miserably.
Joe F saying, Kane's a great player, but not Lou's cup of tea as a person. What do you think about that?
You're either trying to win or you're not. You know what? I don't care. Are you trying to win a Stanley Cup or not? You know, just because he's not your type of guy, and I know he's had some issues in his past. I'm aware of that. But you're trying to win a cup. I mean, that was a long time ago when he had those issues.
I don't
just
know.
Because you don't like one don't like someone doesn't mean that you shouldn't be able to coexist with him.
And who knows? Again, like I like to hopefully think people have changed and if they're able to have like some sort of personal growth. That being said, James has said, TJ, you should take care of the cap. No, thank you. No, thank you, please. And then D-Cut saying Steve Pellegrini is Lou's cap guy. He has been since the Devils days.
He's not great then. He needs to get a new guy. See, that's where Luke, instead of, staying in his little bubble of guys, look at other people. See who does a really good job with stuff like that. Don't be afraid to reach outside your bubble, Lou. That's a failure on his part.
Stop. I can't. I'm not even going to respond to that because it's going to take a lot of time. I'm sorry. It's ridiculous. Here's the thing. They've done an excellent job with the cap. I don't give a hell who's doing it. Whoever's handled it is doing a fantastic job.
Disagree.
What do you mean you disagree? How the hell do you disagree with that?
I disagree. Who's signing these contracts?
How do you disagree? How do you disagree that he's done a poor job handling the cap this offseason?
Pellegrini should have said, you want to offer Anders Lee $7 million a year, he should only get $5 million. And if Lou overrules him because he's King Lou, well, then Pellegrini's he's not doing his job. He should quit.
I know you're just trying to joke, but man, oh man, that one didn't hit for me, Grumpy. Warzone Senior Citizen said, how about we trade Josh Bailey for Jordan Eberle? That would really give the grumpy old man a heart attack.
What's the difference? Where would Eberle play?
James Farrell is saying Jordan Eberle has 7 goals now, 7 goals, 2 assists in 13 games, I believe, for the Seattle Kraken. He did just recently have a hat trick, I believe, also.
Yeah, guys on bad teams have to have guys who put the puck in the net too. Remember Mariusz Tchaikovsky? I mean, Jordan Eberle was never going to put those numbers up here. It's just the system we play.
Michael O'Donnell saying TJ guaranteeing a top 4 defenseman and a first line right winger at the trade deadline. Oh Lord, I hope you're right, TJ. I hope I am too. I just think with that much cap space, if you wait till the trade deadline, what you're looking at $15.5, $16 million. So you got plenty of cap space. I'd be shocked if we didn't make a move for at least a top 4 defenseman and a sniper.
When was the last time that you guaranteed something?
When I guaranteed us that we'd have Tarasenko in the offseason. Speaking of Tarasenko, Michael T said, wait a minute, Grumpy. So you're angry now if we would get Tarasenko? Oh, my God.
If you give up anything more than a second-round draft pick and Samuel Bolduc, yes. Because you could have had him in the offseason for that, and you didn't pull the trigger. If you got to pay more now, it's a failure. If you're paying that price, I'm all for it. That said, St. Louis is not moving him now. If you wanted him, you had to strike while the iron was hot, which was in the offseason. He's going nowhere now.
So here's the thing. If they were able to somehow, Lou was able to work his magic because he's playing 17D chess as everybody else is playing pinochle or playing, they're playing tic-tac-toe in the sand and he's playing 17D chess and is able to get him on a cheap deal, you would be fine having Tarasenko. You're just afraid the price would be too much compared to other right and or left winger possibilities that are out there in the market there this trade deadline. Is that correct?
He in particular, if you could have had him for a second and a Bolduc, and let's say now you got to give a first and a second, well then to me, it's a failure on his part. You could have got him cheap in the offseason. You overpaid at the trade deadline. That would make me unhappy. That said, he's not getting moved from St. Louis. It's not happening. Give that one up. That's not happening.
John P., I appreciate it. Thanks for the kudos. Michael T. said, so there are definitely dark horse players who might be available at the trade deadline that no one has even thought of at this point in time. For certain, there are. For certain.
Yeah, we just don't know who. And like I said, that's a long ways away yet.
And thanks there, Tommy B. Yep, we're gonna be receiving the future considerations there from Buffalo in that Boychuk trade. I thought it was that way, but I wasn't 100% sure. Great. Yep, Buffalo needed the Boychuk contract to stay at the cap floor, so they pretty much owed us. So I'll be interested to see what the future considerations are. That's for certain. Yeah. And then Tommy B said maybe we get Buffalo to take Hickey as those future considerations. I don't know. I'm not sure. I have no idea. If you can, I mean, he's right now buried in Bridgeport, so that would free up an extra 1.4 million or 1.3 million, whatever it is, because he's on a $2.5 million contract for the 1 year left.
Yeah, I mean, if they were going to do that, wouldn't they have done that already?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the considerations are. It's something to keep an eye on. Alexander said, so you're not concerned about Noah Dobson? I know I'm not. I don't know if other people are concerned about him. The play hasn't been there. He's got to start stepping it up. I think that
I think
areas I was expecting him to take a little bit further step on. Sometimes he shows it, sometimes he doesn't. I need the consistency.
I think the fact that Trotz doesn't show enough faith in him could sap his confidence. He has a way shorter leash than everybody else. You see Chara out there. He's 1,000 times worse, but he plays a lot more minutes. I mean, it's just the way he is. I don't think he's been great this year. There are times when he looks really good, but there are times that he looks like he's not real good either. That said, he's far from the worst defenseman on this team. Far from the worst defenseman on this team.
Warzone Senior Citizen, grumpy old man, how do you go from Game 7 Eastern Conference Finals, first line left wing, to cut from the roster 20 games into next season? Barry blew the Islanders Cup run. Wallstrom or anybody else in that first line left wing, and we win the Cup. Barry blew it.
I don't know if we win the Cup, but it gives us a better chance of beating Tampa Bay. And he just, like I said, he wanted to ride with his old war horses, and you got what you got. And I'm not surprised at all.
Ryan P. He's now you're seeing people excited about the possibility of Patty Kane saying, I'm talking move Josh Bailey to the third line left wing and grab Patty Kane for the first line. Wouldn't that be something?
What would you have to give up realistically to get Pat Kane?
Here's the thing. What we would have to give up would be something like this. Simon Holmstrom, a first round pick. You probably would have to give up
Simon Holmstrom. Why would they want Simon Holmstrom?
He's a right wing. He's a youth right winger who's put up some points. Here's the thing. It's going to be him and then probably an additional depth piece, probably like a defenseman or some other piece. It'd be expensive to bring him in. And I promise you, it probably might also be a second round pick. He's still under contract for that additional year. So you get some certainty with him.
Yeah, I think you're underselling what Pat Kane's going to get. Really underselling.
What do you think?
Simon Holmstrom.
Who could afford to take on Patrick Kane's contract for this year and next year? We talked about Giordano being in a closed market because there's not many people that have the cap space needed to keep him. And now we're saying Patrick Kane's $10.5 million for this year and for next year. You're going to have to be a special type of team in order to be able to take that on. If he would be able to get moved, big if.
I just don't see him. I just don't. I think you're going to have to give up way more. He's going to be at least 2 first-round picks. At least Simon Holmstrom is a non-entity. He's a non-entity.
Okay.
Maybe they'd ask for Anthony Beauvillier back and a first-round draft pick. I could see that being a deal.
How? I no way.
Because that's if Chicago wants a young piece that can play, that's Beauvillier. It's not Casper Holmstrom.
I tell him to kick rocks. Maybe I'm wrong. Would you, if you guys were offered, comment down below. If you guys were offered a deal for Anthony Beauvillier and a first-round pick for Patrick Kane, would you take that deal to add in Patrick Kane? I'm saying no. I guess, Grumpy, you're in the yes category on this one?
Absolutely.
Okay,
you're getting a top 5 winger for Anthony Beauvillier.
Gotcha. We'll let people comment down below, Grumpy, for certain. Frank K saying, how about Buffalo taking Yashin and DiPietro?
They're both all for bucks.
I was about to say. And then Mark A said Golashev could be put into a deal. And it's only Golashev putting up points there in Bridgeport.
He's a minor leaguer. I don't know. I don't know what Chicago would be looking for something like that. He's a 5'7" guy. I don't know.
What a film saying, looking good, Grump. Like the shirt. Cute Mickey Mouse shirt, TJ. Is he an Islander fan? Yeah, for certain Mickey Mouse is. And thank you. I appreciate it, Woodda. And then Grumpy, I'll let you respond to Woodda if you want to.
I don't think that's an Islander Mickey Mouse shirt. I think just a regular Mickey Mouse shirt.
You said, is he an Islanders fan?
Yeah, I thought that what it was saying is it like a Mickey Mouse like with an Islander shirt on or something.
No. Okay, well, he said nice shirt. I just didn't know if you want to say anything. D-Cut saying, TJ has a giant man crush on Phil's facts, and the lovely Paige may need to keep an eye on this.
TJ's got quite a few of those people that, he's in close contact with.
I do what I can. Brian P said, wow, TJ, no Scarface either. And Scott L saying, TJ is deprived. I just don't watch movies. I think that's as simple as this. I just don't watch movies, guys. I watch a few of them, and I'll watch more like a Netflix show here or there, but I've just never been a big movie guy. Not my cup of tea.
Like I said, he's from another planet.
Frank K said, Buffalo's attendance will be worse than the Panthers then. Oh, the Florida Panthers are winning games. So, I mean, I feel like they're going to be.
Their attendance is a little bit better than it has been.
Frank K saying, worst Vince McMahon impression ever. Grumpy Roll.
You're fired.
That's a little better, maybe. Tommy B said a $250 fine for tailgating. I've never been a tailgater. I could tailgate maybe to a football game.
Never tailgated. Never seen a movie. Doesn't know anything about music. I mean, what the?
I've been to tailgating. I've never tailgated for an Islanders game except the ones where we went to a few different Islanders meetups. I went to a few different Islanders meetups. I've not been a big tailgate guy. I mean, I've tailgated a football game, but I cannot believe they're going to charge people to tailgate. $250 fine.
I thought you'd be cool with any place where you get to take your shirt off.
What? A tailgate? Oh, how what type of Grumpy? I've never been to a wild tailgate where people ripping shirts off.
Everybody pulls. They're out there drinking beer. They take their shirts off. They tuck it in the back of their pants.
Hold on a second. When's the last time you've been to a tailgate, Grumpy old man? That does not happen at tailgates.
Okay, it's been a while, but that doesn't mean I've never been to a tailgate or many tailgates.
Jesus, Grumpy. Maybe you go to some rowdy tailgates. I go to pretty docile, calm tailgates, Grumpy.
There's a shock.
What can I say? Me and the fence riders keep a pretty even keel. Warzone Senior Citizen said it was Lou Lamoriello that signed Leo in Toronto and for the Islanders. Maybe Lou broke up with him and started dating Casper.
No, I think they still have a connection. Leo and Lou. LML forever.
Grumpy, I want to get Michael M saying all for the new Rocky movie, right, Grump? Now, I want to get you. What do you think about Michael M's new profile picture, Grump?
He's looking mean. I mean, I know I don't know the look he's going for, but he's, pensive. Sometimes he's pensive. I mean, he's doing a lot of emotions in those pictures.
So I was about to say,
my wife told me not to do any selfies from underneath. Said always try to get them on the top.
I wonder why she's telling you that, Grumpy.
Because my neck looks like shit. That's why. Bad look. I know it's a bad look. Come on.
What if Phil said, get rid of Leo. Getting rid of Leo is a good sign. I think the Islanders are setting up for a trade, and Bailey isn't going anywhere. Nobody wants him, not even most of us.
No one wants him.
Jimmy S saying Rocky 3 was the best.
I don't know. Well, I thought the first one was the best. Hulk
Yeah.
Hogan was in Rocky 3, Clubber Lang, Mickey dies, but still, I thought the first one was the best.
What was Rocky 2 about?
It was a
Was that
rematch.
Apollo Creed?
Rematch with Apollo Creed, yep.
Huh.
And Rocky wins the title. That was kind of cheesy too. The first one was the best.
I was about to say the first one, they both go to the hospital, and what do they rule a draw or something?
No. God damn, son.
I don't watch Rocky movies, Grump. What do you want me to tell
You
you?
don't remember the ending of Rocky?
Hey, I
Freaking
remember
Rocky?
he climbs the stairs in Philly. He goes, "Ah,"
That's
and I
not
remember he
the
says,
end.
I think they're both in a hospital at the end of that movie.
That's how Rocky 2 starts.
Because at the end of Rocky 1, they both go to the hospital.
No. It
Yes.
ended with the fight went the full distance, and the final thing is the winner and still champion, Apollo Creed, and they show Adrian gets in the ring and she gives Rocky a hug. I love you, Rocky. I love you, Adrian. That's how it ended. It was nothing about them going in the hospital. And the music was so fantastic. Man, talk about great movie music. Holy shit, Bill Conti really knew what he was doing back then.
Tommy
Perfect.
wants to know, did Grumpy buy that couch from the very first Rocky when the very first Rocky movie came out?
No, I did not.
Oh, no. What a film saying the Rocky movie is going to be watched a show with Sly talking about it. He hated 4, and this film was going to be a lot different.
I'm going to wait until I can watch it. I'm not going to see that. I mean, I didn't think it was great. I really didn't. I thought out of all of them, I mean, I liked Rocky 5. I really did, with Tommy Morrison in it, and I thought that was pretty good. And I liked Rocky Balboa. I definitely liked that one. Even the first Creed movie wasn't that bad. So
James F said fans that have disabilities are complaining that there's not enough parking spots for them. That's why they don't want tailgating at UBS Arena. So they didn't block off enough parking spots. They don't have enough.
sounds like a lack of planning means that they're going to punish the fans. That's typical, though, isn't it?
They didn't plan out enough parking spots. They didn't give enough spots to people who have disabilities, which they need spots, but now fans can't tailgate. It is odd. I've never seen. I don't
How do you
know.
not plan for that? How do you not plan for that?
Here's a question. Maybe people know this, and maybe I'm ignorant on it, but I don't think there's many other sports franchises, organizations that do not allow tailgating in the parking lots at their facilities. That's when I saw that, I'm like, oh man, this isn't something that commonly happens, is it? I mean, the games I've been to, I've never seen anything like this before. Maybe I'm just always breaking the rules and have no idea.
Yeah, I don't honestly. I don't know. I don't know enough about the layout, but you should have planned for that. That's just part of the. That's just part of the atmosphere of going to a live sporting event.
Oh, hey, Grump. You know what I forgot to mention? An hour and 47 minutes in. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a podcast, a general sports podcast where we talk sports and shoot the shit called TJ and the Grumpy Old Man. Now, we do that podcast every Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That means tomorrow, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and on Sundays, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We talk all the latest in sports, controversial items, serious items, sometimes just funny items, fan fights. We cover it all on TJ and the Grumpy Old Man. That can be found in the link in the description below. Make sure you check that out and subscribe to that channel. We'll be going live tomorrow at 9 p.m. It's can't miss radio/podcast. What a film saying Stallone is legendary and new Rambo movie is kick-ass. Don't let your kids watch.
I didn't like the last Rambo movie. I mean, it was a Rambo movie, but I didn't think it was that great. He goes into Mexico to save, I think, his niece. Um, I didn't. I don't know. I didn't think it was as great as it certainly wasn't the best Rambo movie. The best one was the first one. First Blood was really good. The second one was good too. The second one was just like, yeah, I'm kicking everybody's ass.
Michael M said, if anybody collects or knows how to be rich that collects Pokemon cards, I'm selling an absolute massive collection and need the funds. I need the money to acquire Tarasenko from the Blues and to pay off Bailey to leave forever.
I don't think you have enough Pokemon cards to get rid of Josh Bailey forever.
Maybe they're extremely valuable. I don't know. John P. Grumpy, I'll let you read that. Niedermeyer.
You're all worthless and weak.
Michael T said,
Anybody
hey.
have another?
Michael T said, hey, so is it a coincidence that the Islanders' first game in the for the franchise was against the Calgary Flames or against the Flames, and the first game at UBS is against the Flames as well?
I don't think it's a coincidence at all. They love. Let me tell you something. All sports leagues love those little things, those little side storylines, so they give something to feed to their announcers. They absolutely love that stuff. Love it. It's their lifeblood in the boring part of making schedules.
I think it's kind of cool, though.
It is cool. I didn't say there was anything wrong with it, but that's what they live for, is stuff like that. It's not a coincidence.
Alexander said, my buddy who's a Panthers fan thinks that Spencer Knight is not ready.
Disagree. I think he's ready. Particularly with playing with Bobrovsky. I mean, I think they're both. It's a good 1A. Really good.
Brian P saying, yeah, Grump. The McJesus comment was at TJ, not at you, Sensei.
Yeah, I can't believe he said. Honestly, I wasn't paying enough attention to TJ because it's tough to do that. You know, I think about how I'd want to blow my brains out, listen to him, actually decipher what he says. Just the fact that he knows nothing about music, movies, life, anything. I mean, there's just too much for me to grapple with on a 4 times a week basis.
Brett W says, we need to burn those fisherman jerseys. Not going back to the Millbury dark times. We got Grumpy. Some comments there about the logo. Brian P said, shirt looks sweet. D-Cut saying, Grumpy looks jacked in that picture.
Yeah.
Nicholas said, Grumpy, I promise you don't have a strong 4 headlines, as strong as 4 headlines as that photo shows.
I know I don't. I mean, they put that. I mean, it's like it almost look like a wrestler, like from the olden days. Like where they carve up their heads, big gashes. I look like Abdullah the Butcher, the way he used to carve up his head.
It's going to show different on a shirt, though. Michael M.
No, it's not. It's going to look even worse.
Not a terrible design, but I seriously think we need an Islanders and Never Say Die podcast shirt plain for certain. Yeah, we've already got that design already made, but these are the additional ones we're doing there. Michael O'Donnell says here, I'm hoping Barry splits time with both his goaltenders during the regular season, but please play the hot goalie in the playoffs.
I want Sorokin playing. He's the difference, John. He's the difference. He's Sorokin. The difference.
Michael T said, Grumpy, are you a lefty shot or a righty shot?
Righty.
There it is. And then John P said, how about trades before the deadline? So you have time to acclimate to the Barry system. It's funny. Grumpy was talking to me about the same thing earlier. He said, I'd like the trade to be done a little before the trade deadline because it usually takes some of these new guys. You look at Jean-Gabriel Pageau, you look at Kyle Palmieri. When they first joined, they don't put up great numbers. I mean, Palmieri did, or Jean-Gabriel Pageau, I don't think it lit the world on fire. We had lost like 7 straight games after acquiring them. And Andy Green, it was like 11 losses or something, or maybe it was like 10 losses in 11 games. And with Kyle Palmieri, he didn't light the world on fire when we traded for him either at the deadline.
Everyone knows how smart John is. I mean, look at all the stuff on his wall, even there in his picture. I mean, very, very smart. And that's a very smart question, John. I posed it like TJ mentioned to him earlier today. See, that's exactly what I feel. Very good, John. Look at the little emoji there. That's like, I'm just thinking out loud here. I like it.
D-Cut saying TJ had a dream that Grumpy went down for a dirt nap and Phil Fax became his co-host.
That'd be the end of this podcast. I'm just going to tell you that much. But here's the thing, like if you have an anti-drug campaign, hey, don't take melatonin, don't take sleeping pills, just listen to TJ and Phil's facts.
Oh, we would bring so much fun, Grumpy. Oh, Phil's a great sport. Tommy B saying, Islanders take 2 of the last 3 on this road game. We finish 7-4-2. Really solid. Hey, if we finish 7-4-2, that's better than we wanted. Definitely for certain. Again, we said 7-5. We're anything above 7-5, it's a successful road trip.
Yeah. Tampa and Florida, 2 of those teams, though. And we have to beat the Devils tomorrow, I think. I mean, everybody in the Metro is still winning games. Naturally, that's going to slow down a little bit. But we haven't played any of those teams yet, except for Carolina once. So, those are like 4-point games, right?
Jim P said, Lou will make a trade with Anaheim, all right, but he'll trade for former Devil Adam Henrique.
I see Jim's picture. It looks like he's been hit with a lot of pucks. Jim, I can't happen.
He's goalie, Grumpy. Brian P said the audience would never make it past the DraftKings ad.
Very true. Wouldn't even make it to the DraftKings ad.
Oh, man, oh, man. Nicholas T said, just got home from work. Where did Uncle Leo go? To the KHL, Nick. You went to the KHL. And hey, it was a mutual departure, so we're going to have $3 million extra cap space. If we wait till the trade deadline, we're going to have 16 million in cap space at the trade deadline. Hey, can't see us complain about that. That's for certain. Brian P said, Isles misery, especially we're throwing up when Leo was on the first line. Talking about when Leo was on there, a lot of people weren't talking about how bad of a move it was.
Yeah, the Islander sycophants weren't, but real fans, smart fans, they knew.
Jake K, 2 minutes of pessimistic. He said, Grump, I agree with you 100%. I don't blame Leo at all. I blame his utilization and Lou signing him.
Yeah, it's easy to pick on the player, right? That's easy. And I do it because it's easy. It's a cheap pop. But it's not the player's fault at all. He's put in a position by the coach and he was signed by the GM. It was a bad signing, and playing him on the first line was a disastrous move. I'm not saying it cost us a Stanley Cup, but it cost us a better chance. That's for certain.
Grumpy. I'm not going to read those comments because I'm trying to think who you like. I don't want to give anything away. I'm trying to remember who your college basketball team is. I can't remember if you're Syracuse, Chapel Hill, Kansas. Who are you a fan of, Grump?
I like Duke. I met Coach Mike Krzyzewski, and he was so nice to my kids that I just automatically started rooting for him. And like I said, I'd been down here for a while. Being from New York, I was a big East fan, St. John's in particular. I like St. John's, never a Georgetown fan. And Louis Carnesecca and Chris Mullen, guys like that. But when I came down here and I met Mike Krzyzewski, he was just so nice and kind to my children that I instantly became a fan of him and of Duke.
I won't read any comments about the outcome of the Duke game then, Grump, in case you want.
Duke played last night. They beat Kentucky.
They play again tonight.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I was asking, did they?
I don't think so. I don't think they play back-to-back days. Maybe they do. I don't know. Fair enough, grumpy old man. And then Frank K saying, put Dobson with a young, skilled player. Green and Char are not helping his development. The Islanders are notorious for killing talent. And then Tommy also saying Noah's only 21 years old. He still's got some growing pains to go through. What Barry should have done the last 2 years is put him in every situation. Let him learn on the fly instead of spoon feeding him all the time. Let him learn on the fly. I mean, you're going to find out real quick if he's the real deal or not. And I just think you're seeing his minutes down again this year, where he was supposed to be, a top four guy. Nope, he's a bottom pairing guy still. He insists on playing Chara more minutes. And it's like, dude, what are you doing? I don't get it.
Absolutely, Grump. I got a comment here also from Michael T saying, could Noah Dobson be involved in a trade? Can we possibly see other teams have interest in him? I don't think he's going anywhere, and I don't think he should go anywhere.
I think teams would definitely have an interest in him. I don't think he's a guy that you're going to move. Not at 21. I don't think so.
And neither do I. I don't think
I do wish he would be more forceful, though. Sometimes he just seems like he's a little, I don't know.
Laissez-faire. Laissez-faire a little bit back there.
Good word.
Kind of hands off, a little relaxed, a little too, it's the same issue I had with Nicoletti sometimes in the back end. I'm hoping, his sense of urgency increases. It's not like, right, you look at certain guys that play that kind of hands off type of style. I mean, they always said Griffin Reinhardt did it. Griffin Reinhardt just couldn't skate. That's the reason he did it. Noah Dobson can skate, so we know he can turn it on and off. I just need to see more aggression, need to see more decisiveness on the defensive side of the zone or the defensive side of the puck and bringing the puck in the offensive zone. I think it's going to come there. I'm not worried about it. I would not trade. I would not look to trade him. Go ahead, Grump.
Is it a system thing? You know what I'm saying? Is it a system thing? Because his skill set is moving the puck and skating with the puck. And I mean, that's what he did in juniors, right? Just control the puck and do it, on his own from the back. That's not what we do here. I mean, maybe he's not a fit for Barry's system, which wouldn't surprise me. I mean, look at Letty. His game, he leaves here and his game's taken off. Before Trotz and Lamoriello came in, he was really good, right? You'd never consider moving Letty. Maybe it's a system fit.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. Again, Nick Letty, just to keep record, 14 games played, 0 goals, 6 assists, -2 so far for the Detroit Red Wings.
Playing a lot of minutes though, right?
Playing 21 minutes in 48 seconds a night. So he's not playing much more than he played with the Islanders, only about, 13 seconds more a night than when he played with the Islanders. What a Film said, speaking of movies in Travolta, I highly recommend The Fanatic. It's the worst movie you will love to see.
And he's made some bad movies too. He's made some really bad movies. I guess he needs the money.
John M. saying, great show, guys. Today's news has Grumpy Spry tonight.
Very excited. Yes.
I'd be also reminded, takes defensemen 2 to 3 years to settle in. That's for certain,
say
right?
300 games.
Michael T. said Shawshank Redemption was a recent classic movie.
Okay. What year was Shawshank Redemption? TJ, you're going to have to. 1990. Okay. Here's my point. 1994. That is 27 years ago. Think about that. That's what I'm talking about. 27 years ago. Recent movies that I saw that were good. Jojo Rabbit. Love Jojo Rabbit. Parasite. Love the ending. But having to read a movie the whole time, you don't get to see, because I don't know Korean. So, you got to read the subtitles. And if you got to read, you're not seeing the characters' faces and some of the acting that's put out there, which, for me, I like to look at the characters' reactions to certain things. But I love the ending of that movie. But I mean, Nomadland last year, that was maybe the worst movie I think I've ever seen. Talk about depressing and just not entertaining, just dull.
Alexander saying, guys, do you think that Varlamov could be moved at the deadline? No. I don't think he should either. I mean, if you're going to move him, you're maybe looking the offseason, but even then, I think what we're going to see is him be here with the Islanders until his contract is completed. I think they like having Varlamov and Sorokin back there as a 1-2 goalie tandem.
Yep, agreed.
John P. said, the difference will rise to the top and be a Vezina finalist. Grumpy.
There you go. John gets kudos to that name, by the way.
Andrew L. wants to say, hey, let's get Benoit Hogue back in the lineup.
I don't think Benny could skate good enough anymore. Oh, he could probably fit in there with Anders Lee, though. He can't skate either.
Michael T. saying Sorokin is obviously the better goalie, but they both had bad first games played this season.
I think the Islanders' defense was miserable the first 2 games. That's why Sorokin got exposed. Mm-hmm. I mean, and like I said, the first game, that means nothing. It means absolutely nothing to me.
Alexander said, what about Elias Pettersson or Brock Besser?
Pettersson's a difference maker. He's a center, though. Besser is good, too. I don't know if he's a difference maker, though. I do like him, though. What are you going to have to give up for a young guy like that? I think he's a restricted free agent at the end of the year, I believe.
I think the Vancouver Canucks are in a different situation. I think the Vancouver Canucks this offseason are going to do some soul searching. They've got the talent. I mean, if they're not able to right the ship with all the talent they have, something else needs to be done. They need to change the makeup of the team. They've got the young talent. They've got the young defensemen. Thatcher Demko in net, but it just seems to be like they're missing something. And, maybe it's grit. Maybe it's a little bit of heart. I don't watch many of the Vancouver Canucks games out west like that. Can't stay up that late, but they're missing something. That's for damn certain. Go ahead, Grump.
Yeah, I just don't think, Besser's 24 years old. Pettersson is, 22. They're not going anywhere. There's no way Vancouver's moving them.
They do. It would be for it'd be a large trade, which I don't think would be interested in doing. Chase H said Islanders need a left defenseman and a winger. We can 100% have an amazing shot for the cup if we were just those 2 needs.
Yeah, it's got to be. They're gonna have to be a difference maker as a winger for certain, and a really Giordano's. I'll give kudos to TJ for coming up with Giordano.
I think it was Phil's facts. I just want to give him credit. I'm not sure if I came up with the Phil's. Honestly, I don't like to steal anybody's stuff.
Well, I'm going to give you credit because Well,
That's fine. I will happily take credit, but I just
okay.
want to throw out there, maybe it wasn't me.
The first time I heard it was from you. So
Okay.
I like the Giordano idea. And like I said, a Philip Forsberg, I'd love that.
Sal P saying, "Hey guys, speaking of difference makers, everyone knows we need a sniper, but I think we need a puck moving defenseman just as much. Absolutely none of our guys bring any creativity in transition. We are last in points by defensemen. Not
I
good."
think that's a system. I really think that's our system, though. We don't want our defensemen committing. We don't want guys attacking, except very rare occasions. It's let the wingers do that. Let the center do that, and just make sure you play defense. I mean, I think a lot of them is system oriented.
And I hate to harp back on Vancouver. Remember, Vancouver made the trade for Connor Garland this last offseason and also Oliver Ekman-Larsson.
Gave up nothing for them, really.
Well, okay. Well, you talk about them making moves. They're trying to do what they can. They thought, hey, if I bring in Oliver Ekman-Larsson, add another defenseman, one of those offensive defensemen, vertical guys like Quinn Hughes back there who have the same role. A lot of offensive defensemen, not so much of the grit, meat and potatoes type of guys. So just funny you think about that. Andrew,
isn't that the way the NHL is going, though? It's about puck moving defensemen, not about stay at home guys. Isn't that the way it's going?
Doesn't win you cups though all the time.
Well, it's not winning us any cups doing it this way.
Oh, Andrew L said Barzal is good buddies with Patty Kane.
Yeah, well, maybe that helps.
And Patrick Kane and Barzal could be unstoppable. Nice to dream. Lou would probably prefer Jason Spezza, though.
That's very intriguing, Sal.
Just to pop up a few of these responses, grumpy old man, that we have from: would you take Anthony Beauvillier in a first-round pick for Patrick Kane? We got a few no's and D-Cut those saying yes.
I don't understand why someone would. You get the best player in the deal by far the best player in the deal. Those are the guys who usually win trades. The best player is the guy who wins a trade. It's not the auxiliary pieces. And I like Anthony Beauvillier. He's not a difference maker.
Alexander saying TJ's favorite movie is The Little Giants. I remember The Little Giants. I remember that one.
I enjoyed Little Giants.
It's a funny little cute movie. I mean, I like The Little Giants. That's for
Ed O'Neill played. Al Bundy was in it. It was great. He was great playing the older brother to Rick Moranis. Just great.
D-Cut saying TJ must have been homeschooled.
Do you think his parents could have stood having him at home every day? I don't think so.
And Tommy B said TJ's idea of a tailgate is 4 people on a Zoom call. Oh, damn. Fair enough. James F. there saying, guys, what's with the basketball court at UBS Arena? I just want a hockey at our arena. Yeah, it's going to be retrofitted for the basketball and hockey. That's what it looks like.
Yeah, well, you can't blame them for doing that. I mean, they're trying to maximize the nights that the building's available. Nothing wrong with that. It's better than Barclays, where you had to retrofit it to fit hockey in. I'd rather have it the other way around.
Yes, exactly. I'd rather be geared to where it's hockey. Could be hockey's a coup d'etat. Brian P. there saying, yeah, rite of passage. Scarface is rite of passage for every man. D-Cut says, so's Roadhouse.
Roadhouse, guilty pleasure movie for certain. Jeez, my God. Think about how ridiculous that movie was.
A few people weighing in on Rocky. Yeah, I guess Rocky won. Michael T said, I think I read an article somewhere that Sylvester Stallone still has 2 turtles from the original Rocky movie. They're like 30 years old or something.
Okay. They're not the 2 same turtles from the original Rocky movie, because you want to know how old they'd be? They'd be 46. That movie came out in 76, and it's 2021 now, so figure it was made in 75. That's a long freaking time ago. TJ, do you know the name of those 2 turtles?
Shelly and Humpy. I don't know.
It wouldn't surprise me that you said Shelly because he has a shell, but no, it was Cuff and Link. That's
okay. Fair enough. Tommy B saying TJ doesn't know the Rocky movies, but he can quote every line from a Transformer movie. I'll be honest with you. No, I don't know. Don't think I watched anything besides the first Transformer movie. I know Megan Fox and Shia LaBeouf are in Transformers, and that's it. That's all I know from that. And I had Bumblebee, the little yellow car.
I remember John Turturro going, I'm under the thing's testicles. I don't know if that was the first one or the second one, but it was hilarious. Whatever the thing that was, whatever.
Brian P said, TJ, your lack of movie knowledge should give you a 5-minute major instead of a game suspension.
It should have been a game misconduct. Absolutely.
Oh man. What can I say? I don't know. And then John P said the tailgating thing is strictly about money, guaranteed.
Yeah, any way they can soak the public, they'll do it. So you know what? Everybody should just, I don't know. Well, I'm not going to tell anybody what to do when it comes to that.
Oh, especially if they're going to fine him. Yeah, no point in I'm not taking any, hit off the cheek there with card and money.
No.
Mario said Rocky's speech to his son, Rocky Balboa, is legendary.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. Really, really good.
Tommy B said TJ's favorite movie was The Color Purple. He had to cry. I don't know what's The Color Purple? I'm bad to say. I don't know any of these movies, guys. You could throw every reference at them. I know no movies. I don't watch any movies.
It was Whoopi Goldberg's first movie, directed by Steven Spielberg. I think was up for 11 Academy Awards, won none. I forgot the name of the character that she played, but it was during like slave era or right after or whatever. Yeah, it was a big movie for Whoopi Goldberg. Oprah Winfrey was in it. Danny Glover.
Well, Alex, thanks for letting us know, man. Have a good time at the Dolphins game, man. That'd be a good time. I'm jealous. You're going to the Dolphins game here. And then Michael T said The Last Rainbow was one of the goriest movies I've ever seen.
Yeah. The cinematography in that, it was like, I don't know. I think a lot of movies that they have like a Mexican element to it, it's like everything is brown. It just seems like all the background is like brown, a lot of browns and yellows and muted reds.
It's like all those superhero movies. They're all like certain ones. DC, I think DC makes everything where it's like dark and like black backgrounds. And I'm like, I could barely see anything. I'm like, not worth my time.
They do that so they can cheat on the CGI stuff. That's why they do it for those movies. But I'm saying, in particular, like if you ever see movies that are about like the Iraqi war or, Afghanistan war, they always have the same color scheme, I want to say. And, because of the way it looks, but even the backgrounds of everything. And it seems like movies that are made in Mexico, it's always the same. Also, the cinematography always seems to be the same.
I think the landscape is just relatively the same there where they shoot.
I'm not talking just about the landscape. I'm just saying if you look at the tints and stuff like that, I just think it looks, it has to be a deliberate thing. That's all.
Secretario. James F says, how long will UBS Arena have it to be the draft or an all-star game? The Offsides Tavern Bar is going to also be at UBS Arena.
I think that you'll see within 5 years, you'll see the draft there, and the same thing with an all-star game.
Brandon Fry asking a very, I think, thought-provoking questions. He says the Islanders should trade Noah Dobson, first-round pick for Ricard Raquel and Elias Lindholm.
No way. I just don't think Lindholm's that good. He's okay. He's not a difference maker. And you're going to give up a 21-year-old? No.
I still think that Noah Dobson struggles. He struggles. I could care less about the team's struggles. I don't think he's going to struggle. I think he's going to go ahead and iron in the same direction and be fine. But I expect it to happen hopefully sooner rather than later. That's what I'm looking for. Michael O is saying, thanks as always for a great podcast, gents. You're the only people that tell the truth and don't sugarcoat everything. Excellent job. Thanks there, Michael. We appreciate it. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I don't know. I just saw the picture. Not good, Michael. I do not like that picture you got there. Noah W says, who do you think Lou will look to acquire? I keep seeing speculation on about the maybe Giordano guy or
Gerard
from the Avs.
Why would they move him? Why would they move him? I don't know. I mean, why would the Avalanche move him? I don't know. I mean, they're struggling. Why would they move him? I don't know.
Well, you know what? Hey, you know why they're struggling? They happen to be missing this top 4 defenseman, this top line defenseman who happened to be a finalist for the Norris Trophy last year. His name rhymes with Sanon Naves, grumpy old man. He used to play for the Islanders as a left-handed defenseman. I can't put my name on what his name is, though, Grumpy. He's been out there with shoulder surgery, and coincidentally, they've been, struggling out of the gates. I wonder why, Grump. Do you know who I could be talking about?
You know what I hate? When you try to do something like Sanan Graves or whatever he does. Everyone knows it's Devon Taves. You don't need to go through that because you trying to be creative and come up with a rhyme to his name is always a bad move.
Oh, Grumpy. Look at that. What can I say, man? I'm trying. What can I say? I'm trying, Grump. Come on. Alexander said, "Hey, Grump, you may know this if you watch wrestling. I think I'm cute. I know I'm sexy. I got the looks that drive you the girls
I think
wild.
I'm cute. I know I'm sexy. I got the looks to drive the girls wild. I got the moves that make." Oh, okay, I messed that up. But that's Shawn Michaels. He's just a sexy boy, sexy boy. He's just a boy toy, boy toy. And Sensational Sherry used to sing that. That was her singing the sexy boy, boy toy thing. Shawn Michaels, a fantastic worker. Fantastic. Top 10 all time. Top 5 all time. Maybe number 1. Great.
John P. said, "By the way, Grumpy, I hope you like Under Armour. I didn't send you garbage. By the way, the Redmen, where my college team were growing up, went to the Big East tournament at MSG, Ewing, Jackson, Poland, etc."
That was something else. Oh man, I tell you what, that's when the Big East was king. I mean, the ACC has always been the best basketball conference, but I'll tell you what, back then, Big East was the king back then. They had Syracuse, Georgetown, St. John's, they were Villanova, Providence. I mean, Providence was even good. Oh man, back in the mid 80s, fantastic. Early to mid 80s, whatever. Great.
I tell you. That's when the back used to be the big bad Big East, Grumpy.
Yeah, they were good.
Chase H saying Barzal would be a point of game player at least in other systems. I do agree with that.
100% agree. 100%.
Ariel C said, "If we go after left-handed defenseman, I want an offensive one, not Samuel Gerard." What about Garland?
No, I don't see. I mean, they just traded for him. They just signed him to an extension. I don't see him going anywhere.
Neither do I.
The time to acquire him was last year, the trade deadline, which we talked about. That was a guy I was considering because he'd be on your team for a lot of years. He was in his, early to mid 20s, whatever he was, 24, 25, as opposed to a guy who was 30. Those are the type of guys I wanted last trade deadline.
Meatball Parm says, "We're going to get smoked to open our building." Talking about Calgary Flames.
I hope not. Maybe he's talking about some of the food, like they've smoked Boston butter or something. Yeah.
Ariel C said, "Eberle has more points in 13 games on the Kraken than he did all playoffs last year."
You got to remember, if you come play for this team, you're going to have to subjugate some offensive points because it's just not how we play. These guys are all talented. Eberle was putting up big points in Edmonton, and even when he first came here, before Trotz and Lamoriello came in, he subjugated his game and he played the team system. And I always give him kudos for that. I thought he was a good teammate. And when he came, he had a reputation for being just lazy on the defensive end. And I don't think that was the case at all while he played here. I have nothing but respect for Jordan Eberle. Was he a great player? No. But he could put up points. And you're seeing he can still do it.
Last year in the playoffs, too, he was also playing with one other line mate. I mean, it was just, and again, Jordan Eberle, I thought could have played better. I don't think he had a great, spectacular postseason with us last year, but he was out there with big old man Leo Komarov, big bad Leo Komarov. Brian P. said, "The system we play takes all the offensive creativity and fun from all offensive players, forwards, and defensemen, makes them so conservative."
That's why I say, why would an offensive player, come here of his own free will? It doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, if you're a guy who wants to, if you're lighting the lamp and sorry, we don't do that here. Why would you come here? Well, the money being the same. I don't know.
Oh, man. Chase H said, "Did you see Barry Trott's press conference where he talked about a bathtub Jake and the Pellick posse?"
I did not, and I'm almost glad that I didn't.
The Pellick posse? And who the hell is bathtub Jake?
I don't even want to guess.
Bathtub Jake. Meatball Parm also saying Rocky 4 is the best. And D-Cut says, TJ, instead of scrolling Twitter for Phil's facts tweets in your spare time, go watch some classic manly movies.
Okay, I'm going to give a little movie. Anybody who has HBO Max or occasionally comes up on Turner Classic Movies, Breaker Morant is an absolutely fantastic movie out of Australia, back from the 1980s, I believe. If you ever get a chance to watch it, it's a true story about a courtroom drama about the Boer War in South Africa, and definitely check that out. Edward Woodward was in that, and it was just fantastic. Brian Blair is in that. Excellent, excellent movie. Highly recommended. Not a kiddie film. It's an adult film. Not that kind of adult film.
James F. said, how about we tailgate at the Coliseum, then we drive to UBS Arena? Well, if you're tailgating, just making sure you're not drinking any adult beverages and driving all over there. And Chase H saying, Rocky is my favorite movie franchise.
Okay.
What would it take to trade for Kane and Taves?
Not anything we're going to do.
A dream, and it's not happening. Coach Tommy B said he went to Blockbuster and grabbed Good Burger, talking about me watching movies. Oh, man. We got Grumpy's alter ego said the turtles are still alive and Sylvester Stallone still has them.
Okay. I didn't think those little turtles lived that long.
Grumpy's alter ego.
We could never get them to live that long in my house.
You had
45 years?
Maybe feed some special turtle
They're
food.
freaking little turtles, man.
I don't know. Maybe they don't move around too much.
They're like freaking sea turtles.
John P. said, Happy Veterans Day to all my fellow veterans. U.S.
100% agree. 100% agree.
U.S. Air Force, 1981, 1987. Thanks for your service, John. Thanks for everybody's service out there, too, because this will be going up on Thursday. Thank you for everybody who served. I should have probably mentioned it at the top, but I wasn't thinking about it because it was tomorrow is Veterans Day. Jimmy S. says, Grump, back on the Brando thing, a streetcar named Desiree was...
Oh, God, no, you didn't say that.
I don't know, Grumpy. How do you say that?
Desire.
A streetcar named Desire. Okay, maybe I don't know. I thought it was a name. Desire. Okay.
My God, Desiree. Oh, just when I think you can't make one more blunder.
I cannot read. I could speak all right, but I can't. Hodaz. Hodaz, I like this picture. Says, glad to see Grumpy repping the colors. Have a great night, fellas. Thanks so much, Hodaz. I like the image you got up over here.
We're on the combo plan.
Oh, man. Tommy B saying, TJ, have you ever been to an arcade? I've been to an arcade.
What do they do there?
Been to a few arcades.
What do they do? I said, what do they do?
You play games. Video game. It's an arcade is what they call it.
Pinball machines. Yeah.
The Amish Mafia show on AMC. Lebanon Levi. I don't know. Maybe you knew what that was.
I've never watched that show.
Fair enough. Oh, I know Kingpin, Grumpy, and Roy Munson. I do remember that one. It's a good movie.
You don't want to get Munson out here. What? What do you mean Munson? Like when you have everything in the palm of your hand and then you lose it.
No, it's funny you mention it. BP saying Brian P said the Outers got Munson by
Oh, yes.
You still owe me 2 months rent.
Oh, God. Hey, Tiger, you really broke one off that time. Oh, man, that was hilarious. Come on. It wasn't that bad.
John P. said, holy crap, grumpy old man. Break him rant. Classic knowledge.
That is such a good movie. So good.
Meatball Parm.
It is a classic. It really is.
Meatball Parm, we were saying, besides Tarasenko, who put up there, I think Philip Forsberg is. And again, if we don't have to overpay, for sure, go for Tarasenko. I just don't think he's leaving, but I think probably Philip Forsberg is maybe the tippity top for us. Chase H said, Bathtub Jake is an IG and Instagram that is huge Islanders fan, or has a huge Islanders fan, and especially a Pellick fan.
Barry, you know what, Barry? Work on how come we cannot produce any offense instead of you looking at Instagram posts on freaking Bathtub Jake. The fact that you even know anybody named Bathtub Jake, Ugh.
What's more concerning? The fact that Barry Trotz knows before myself and yourself what a bathtub Jake is on Instagram. I've never heard of this. I feel like, how I feel like a boomer sometimes. I don't know what bathtub Jake is. I have an Instagram. I had no idea whatever this is existed. And our 60 some odd year old hockey coach. I mean, how old is Barry Trotz? 60 some odd years old.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I don't have I don't have Instagram, so you could say that about me. But here's the thing: I think about a guy named Bathtub Jake, and I think about a guy who's in his 50s. He's got a beard, and he's got like one of those big brushes. He's got hair on his back, hair on his chest, balding, and he's like, use that thing, scrubbing himself. I'm Bathtub Jake. I like Pellick. I mean, I don't know. I don't even want to know, but it's got to be an ugly look.
Well, here it is, Grumpy. This is Bathtub Jake right here. Support. Okay, the Pellick posse. This is where it's all from. Okay, shows you how little I'm aware of all this stuff. He's a big Pellick fan. It's like he or she's the big Pellick fan. James F says, "Is Chara in the trade mix?"
No. Nope.
Jimmy S said, "Laughing my ass off, Grumpy."
Desiree.
Street name Desiree. Oh my God.
It's scary. Honestly,
oh man. And then John B said, "How about bridge over the river?"
Oh man. Over what?
I can't pronounce that last word. Kauai?
River Kwai.
River. I said Kauai. There you go.
No, you stopped. You stopped. Great movie, directed by David Lean, who directed Lawrence of Arabia. A bunch of classics, even Passage to India, even as he was in his 80s. William Holden was in it. Jack Hawkins, Alec Guinness. It was about a prisoner of war camp during World War II. Another just tremendous movies, just fantastic. Like I said, TJ, they do not make movies today like they used to. They just don't.
Then Brian P said, "TJ, you don't know movies, but I thought you could read Desire." I can't read either. I told you I'm illiterate. James F said, "What's the game plan to best the Devils tomorrow, guys?" Our game plan is to put more pucks in the net than the other team. Our game plan is to play hard. Our game plan is to play our team style. Our game plan is to play Islanders hockey. My name is Barry Trotz.
I wish we would have gotten someone. The Hockey Podcast Network has, all teams have it. Each team has like a podcast. And I wish that we would have got the New Jersey Devils people on here, because I haven't got to watch any of their games. But if they're actually a team that is really good on the forecheck, the thing is to get the puck out of the zone quick, because those teams give us problems. But I haven't done any homework on the Devils, to be honest with you.
Gotcha. We'll have to get Neil on there. He does the Devils team. He covers the Devils. Meatball Parm says, "We don't have a cow. We've got a bowl. I'm going to go brush my teeth."
Oh, my God, yeah. Yeah, it took a while to get him going, but when he finally did, he drank it out of it. Yeah. Oh, my God. Well, excuse me, I got to go brush my teeth.
And then Paulo C said, "Sunday against Minnesota, I think it was our first loss when leading after 2 periods. Correct me if I'm wrong."
I can't correct you if you're wrong. You could be right. I don't know. But we didn't deserve to win that game, honestly.
Yeah. JK said, "I'm going to buy a bathtub soon." I guess that's a bathtub Jake thing.
I'm assuming that's what it is.
Fair enough. Grumpy Salt Rico says, what was that, Grumpy?
His name is Jake. See, bathtub Jake.
And then Grumpy's. Oh, I get it. Holy I didn't get it. Sorry. I didn't get it originally until we had to bring it up 2 or 3 times. What can I say? We're getting towards the tail end. Grumpy's Alter Rico says, "Speak right. You can't even say the names right after Grumpy corrects you 2 or 3 times." Yeah, I tell you, it takes a lot.
I'm working with him.
Uh-huh. And then D-Cut said, "Bathtub Jake is a college kid who started a group called the Pellick Posse. They go to the games and hold up giant Pellick heads."
Get a job, hippie.
Oh, I like it, man. I like it. Andrew Ellis said, "I prefer Triple H over the Heartbreak Kid."
Not me. No way.
James F said, "Congrats to ex-Islanders Derek King on his first NHL win as a coach."
And Chicago. And actually, they're playing much better with him as coach.
Ebel Parm said,
Romancing the Stone and The Jewel of the Nile,
and Jewel
two
and I.
romantic comedies, Michael Douglas, Kathleen Turner when she was hot, and Danny DeVito. They were good. They were good.
Brian P said, great fellow shows. As always, TJ, you're a great sport. Thanks, BP. Thanks for tuning in. Alexander said, Grump, top 5 John Travolta movies. Go.
Oh, geez. Pulp Fiction, Saturday Night Fever. Trying to think of what other movies that jump out at me of his.
Roxbury. Night at the Roxbury.
No, not that one. I'm sorry.
That's my favorite Travolta movie.
I liked, Vince Vaughn was in it. I mean, he hasn't had a lot of great movies, but he's a movie star, if you know what I mean. Grease. I loved him in Grease, but not a whole lot of super great dramatic roles. I mean, I'll give you those 3. And whatever it was when Vince Vaughn, he played a dad in that. I enjoyed that one too.
John P said, so I sent you a few photos on Facebook Messenger. Do you not check those during the podcast? Not during a podcast. I need to check them more after the podcast. I've got a whole bunch of messages that built up. Oh, Grumpy, remind me. Randy from the Zoo sang us a song I'm going to show on our next podcast. I'm going to feature that on. He sent it to me like a few weeks ago. I totally forgot about it. But Randy from the Zoo, I haven't forgotten. I'm sorry. D-Cut said, giant pellic heads are still smaller than TJ's real head. I'm sure they are. They got a massive head. Timey said, great show tonight, gents. Looking forward to next Wednesday. Fun time ahead. For certain it is. Chase H saying here 3-1 Islanders, with the Islanders giving up a late goal with 5 minutes to go because Chara will break his stick again. Barzal, Pulak, and Brock will score, and Sorokin will make 35 out of 36 saves.
I hope so. I don't want to see Varlamov in net. That's all I know. That's number 1. I don't want to see him playing tomorrow.
Absolutely, Grumpy. Absolutely. D-Cut said, shout out to the boys at Isles Misery, rated R.
Didn't you do it, D-Cut? Right off the top.
And then BK says, love the podcast. Appreciate it, BK. Grumpy. Here we are, Grump. Oh, we got one more. He said, taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3.
Oh, okay. Yeah. See, I like the original taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3 with Walter Matthau and Robert Shaw, who was in Jaws. I thought that was, and Vincent Gardenia was in that. I thought that was way better than the remake. But it was, like I said, that's a typical Travolta movie. Denzel Washington was in it also.
People are saying Face Off. Is this a movie?
Yes, Face Off was the movie. Yeah, Face Off was good too.
I keep seeing Face Off, and I'm thinking that's reverting to a hockey reference. I'm like, why the hell am I seeing 5 or 6 comments saying Face Off?
He and Nick Cage switch faces. What? I don't know if that was the one where he says, "Stop playing with the nuclear warhead." I don't know if that was it or not. Something like that, but it was a cool line. And I know Travolta was in that.
Michael T said, classic movie for 2004, There Will Be Blood, anyone? I like that.
Good. Daniel Day-Lewis was really good in that. That's really good. Let's think about it. That's 17 years ago. Think about it.
Mm-hmm. And then Alexander saying, great job, guys. Awesome. Thank you for all the hard work. Love you guys. Appreciate it, Alexander. Thank you. Thank you for tuning in. People at Parm said, Grumpy Old Man, have you ever seen Just One of the Guys?
I watched some of it. I could never finish it. It's where a girl pretends that she's a guy. This was a long time ago, so you couldn't use any of those jokes now. But that's, she pretended like she was one of the guys. Of course, she falls in love with one of the guys. I think it was Brandon Lee. I don't know. I don't know. It's been a long time.
Matthew S said, great show, guys. Appreciate it, Matthew. And then Jake 2 minutes pessimistic. He said, strong work, fellas. Appreciate it, Jake. D-Cut. Strong or fun show, guys. Teach us a good sport. Thanks there, D-Cut. Mike B saying Pulp Fiction.
Pulp Fiction is great. I named that one right off the top. That was good.
Absolutely.
My man from Amsterdam. Yeah.
You guys are the best. Appreciate it, John P. Thanks for tuning in as always. Michael T said, where are a great set of boobs in just one of hold on. Those were a great set of boobs in just one of the guys.
Yeah. Well.
And then JK said, TJ, thanks. Is a great sport and appreciate his technical expertise and his ability to multitask. Grumpy, I appreciate your knowledge and your ability to tell it how it is.
That's it, baby. We love you. We love everybody. And we're going to end it on that. today.
Absolutely, guys. Absolutely. And thanks there, Chase H. They're saying great show. Good night, guys. Thank you guys all for tuning in. Remember to check out tomorrow. We've got TJ and the Grumpy Old Man show at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You could find that in the link in the description below. And again, you can watch that Islanders play tomorrow, right, Grump?
Yep, sure do.
You can watch that during the Islanders game. You can listen during the Islanders game. Instead of having to listen to the broadcast, you don't have to go, as Butchie messes up every other name. You could just hear me mispronounce names left and right and mispronounce items in a much more, hopefully, creative way to doing so. That being said, make sure you check out TJ and the Grumpy Old Man. Link in the description below. Thursdays, 9 p.m. or Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Sundays, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Make sure if you also enjoy this content, make sure you subscribe on YouTube, like on Facebook, follow on Twitter. We are going to be doing a live stream during a game upcoming. We'll make sure we got that on the plan here. Once we roll out the merchandise, we got that on the plan to schedule a time where we're going to have that. Maybe a few of them. I don't know. We're going to see how the reception is, if people like it, but we're going to do it. That being said, thank you so much, Grumpy Old Man, number one, for coming on tonight.
Thank you. My pleasure. And I just want to say love and laughter to everyone who listened, and even those who didn't, from TJ and the Grumpy Old Man.
And thank you again, Grumpy. Thank you, everybody who tuned in and listened. Again, you guys are the lifeblood and support that we have on this podcast. We love being able to talk with like-minded individuals about the Islanders, a team that we love and a team that we want to win the cup, bring us to the promised land. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We'll see you guys Thursday, tomorrow, TJ and the Grumpy Old Man, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Or we'll see you tomorrow because you're going to show TJ and the Grumpy Old Man. Then we'll also see you Saturday at the Islanders Never Say Die podcast, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank